He's going to be celebrating 20 years at the Luxor, starting this November. 20 years or 40 years in comedy.
They're nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
you're how long have you been doing?
I've been getting paid for
that's the
because a long
Sure.
go back to Mrs. Parker's sixth grade class, but I wasn't getting paid. I was getting yelled at. But I got probably 31 years of actually getting paid to do comedy, and another 10 years sort of training into that.
Right.
But I have an observation about you, Carolla.
Yes.
No, it's an intro, but you tell me what you feel this.
I'm an attractive man, aren't I?
Yeah. Here's what I'm saying. There's a thing that we do as a society. I was just watching the Beach Boys documentary, right?
Yeah.
And the Beach Boys got out of the gate, tons of hits, California sound. Everyone loved them. That's the early 60s. Then they get to the later 60s, and it's Woodstock and Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin and Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Sure.
And it goes from, in a 4-year period, they go from the coolest, most popular band in the world to, come on, man.
Right.
That's my grandpa's music. Screw you. We're listening to Neil Young, and whatever. And then at some point in 1974, literally 6 years after they're super famous, everyone hates them and looks them as grandpa's band. Then 6 years after that, in 1974, they re-release the whole Endless Summer thing, and they're selling out stadiums and back again. And I've seen it with Carrot Top. Carrot Top was like, he's the butt of a joke. You're gonna end up doing hackneyed junk like Carrot Top. And now I hear people talking about you, comedians on podcasts. Great reference. Great reference. It's weird, right? Do you experience that?
Absolutely. I don't know where it came from. I've always just done what I've done from day one, and people would come and go. You always want to, of course, attract your peers. People would say, I just talked about this the other night backstage. You would say, hey, if a band sells out, let's say, the Stones sold out, and they did they have their song in a Pepsi commercial or something. Mm-hmm. Isn't that the purpose of doing this? Isn't it? Yeah. So, I got lucky, and I got, on some TV stuff, and I would do, some arenas, or not arena, some arena, but not necessarily a full packed arena. And people were just, up in arms, like, what the, how, but I was never the guy in the comedy club that was working the comics in the back of the room.
Right.
I loved that. If I could get the comics to go up in the back, that was a huge payoff. But to get the audience was what I was working on. I wanted the crowd to be happy. I could care less about what the comics thought about me.
Yeah.
Into that, to a certain degree. Because you wanted them to like you. There was something on a it blew my mind. It was Kill Tony was on a what's his name? The David Spade and
David Spade. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fly on the wall.
And they did a lovely thing about me. I mean, they were like, he's just the funniest guy, and he's living on his boat making millions of dollars. But all of a sudden, they were like, I'm great. All of a sudden, Dana Carvey's like, I'm great. And everyone sent it to me like, did he ever? I said, I don't know if Dana Carvey ever thought it was funny, but it's a nice gesture.
Well, I don't see, some of it is compensation for unfairly piling on early.
Sure. Well,
there's no reason why people had to be douchey early on.
Right.
And then, you know what you'll find it? It should be called the Ringo syndrome.
Yeah.
Because Ringo, they made fun of Ringo Starr. Like, he's the guy with no talent in the Beatles. Got all this genius around him. And it's like, and they'd say, like, you're the Ringo of our friend group. We don't even need you here. You know what I mean? Like, literally, talking about a worthless person in a group, or there was the Ringo of The Office or whatever. And then 8 years ago, you talk to people and go, he's a really good drummer. Like Ringo's like a top 5 all the time. And it's like, wait a minute, you talk shit about him for 40 years. Now he's a great drummer.
The worst thing in the Beatles ever could write.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's true about early piling on. Also, maybe just longevity, because people will say to me, he's been in the business 40 years, so now like I'm invited to the picnic. It's like, how do you not bring him now? He's done.
Yeah, Andrew Dice Clay got a little of that. Got really hot, then kind of thrown out, and then brought back in.
Sure.
I think it's part of the human existence. We like the process of like piling on somebody and then building that person up and then piling on again.
But I was just on the plane coming here now from Vegas. I still had people like, "Hey, you still working?" And I'm like, I just got off stage. Like, yeah, I'm still working. Oh, you are? I'm like, yeah, every night. Wow. Like, they did, seriously, I get that thing. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Or if you're off on a vacation, like I could fly to Florida. Which I will tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I'll be at home in Orlando, not in an hour. I'll go somewhere to have lunch, and someone will say, "Oh, you're not working anymore?" No, I'm on fucking vacation. I have to take a week off. I'm still working. I just worked last night.
I know. The saddest conversation I ever had with anybody is I must have been like, I was about 15 years ago, maybe. It was about 15 years ago. I think I was visiting my dad in the hospital, and I was in Pasadena, and I was walking out of the place, and there was a black guy who was like working the floor buffer or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, man, show." And I go, "Hey, man." He goes, "What you been up to since then?" I go, "Well, I'm writing a book and doing." He goes, "Just chilling? That's cool." And I'm like, "No, I'm not just chilling, but all right." But I walked back to the car more depressed than I've ever been.
What have you been doing lately?
By the way,
whatever happened to you?
If somebody yells, "What have you been up to?" let them answer. Yeah. Don't yell, "Just chilling." Yeah, I'm just chilling. Just chilling. Watching my dad in the hospital. You know what I mean? Yeah. Crazy. So I realized that people can't keep track of everybody, and there's too many celebrities now, and no one knows anything anymore.
It's true.
Yeah.
But what's weird is I could be in Las Vegas. I mean, my billboard could be behind them, and they'll say, "Oh, you still have a show?"
Yeah,
Like, it's fucking behind you. Like, there's my. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
I've been. This is true, and I've been in the elevator at the Luxor where I of course work. I get in the elevator, and they'll say, "Oh, where's your show at?" I'm like, "You work here, right?" And I'm like, "It's here."
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
The worst is when you go somewhere, especially somewhere like a smallish market, to do a show. And you're sitting there in Oklahoma City, and you did the show the Saturday night, and now it's Sunday, and you're sitting there at a diner and you're having breakfast, and somebody comes over and goes, "Oh my God, Adam Carolla, you're my favorite, you're my all-time favorite. What are you doing? What are you doing here?" I go, I played the theater next door across the street. I didn't know. What? Yeah. When are you coming back? It's like, not for a long time.
Never.
But what do you care for?
Right.
I didn't know. It's like, you're the biggest fan. You're my biggest fan. You had no idea I was coming to this part of Wisconsin.
That literally happened. It's just whatever, a month ago, and we were.
It happens all day over there,
same thing, though. We're in a diner right next to the theater.
Right.
And the waitress is like, "Yeah, there's some, Carrot Top is playing here." And she said, "Oh, I love Carrot Top." And my crew said, "Well, it's Carrot Top." And she looked, she was like, "Oh, clueless."
I know,
but standing right there. No, I'm fucked in a lineup. They don't even recognize me in a lineup. No.
So I don't know. In a weird way, your career's been I get no respect in a weird way, but now it's come full circle that the people, the comedians, your fellow, your peers, are now heaping praise on Carrot Top.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, there's no reason to hate Carrot Top, and we don't need to love on him that much. It's just somewhere in the middle. I swear to God, I think they feel guilty.
Yeah.
I never
like that. We should like it, but not.
Let's just go over it.
Crazy with it. I mean, okay, you're all right.
Yeah, then somebody here brought up this clip of Norm Macdonald.
Oh, yes.
For chairman of the board. And it's like he had to have seen that, but of course that's what it used to be.
But Norm and I we're friends. I would say good friends, but we're friends.
Well, I don't think anyone is good friends was
right.
I was friends with Norm Macdonald, but I was not. He didn't. I don't know if he had good friends.
Right.
Yes.
And the funny thing about that clip, because people they lose their mind. They say, "Have you seen this?" And I said, "Not only have I seen it, but on the set of the movie, that was already our joke. So to us, it was kind of like we called it Chairman of the Board on set."
Right.
Like that was our joke, Chairman of the Board.
Right.
It was a pretty given, easy joke. And when he did it, it was like, Conan, and I said, okay, and it's fun. But I felt really worse for the poor girl that was in
Courtney Thorne Smith.
I mean, she was defending me to the nth. I mean, no, he's really nice and he's funny. And they're like, Norm's like, no, why would you leave? Why are you doing a movie with characters? She's like, it's great. It was a good movie.
I watched it and seen it a long time. But her body language reminded me on a lot of dates I've been on. Like she was literally. There's one thing when you're confined to a chair.
Oh, you have the clip.
Yeah, you can't get up and leave. You just want to be as far away as humanly possible from that person without ever getting out of your chair. She's 45 degrees. She's not sitting up.
Yes.
All right, we'll play the young Conan clip just for fun.
You are making a movie with Carrot Top, right?
I made a movie with Carrot Top.
Okay. You've made a movie with Carrot Top. It's not out yet.
No, it's
Can you
not
put the
out yet.
picture up of Carrot Top again, just so we can all see him? Oh, there it is again. Yeah. All right.
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
Wait a minute, she left Melrose Place to do a movie with Carrot Top?
No, she still was in
That's where I'm going, my friend. This begs the question now. Why a movie with Carrot Top?
Why a movie with Carrot Top?
I mean, no, I don't know much about Carrot Top, I don't know much about him. I'm a little jealous because he's a red-haired comedian, and I felt like maybe you'd do a movie with me first, then move on to Carrot Top, then to Ralph Mal from Happy Days.
Johnny Most.
Sort of the three. There's an order in which you do movies with the redheads. What's he like, first of all?
He's extraordinarily sweet.
Nice guy.
He really is. And he worked very hard, and he was adorable.
And he works with a lot of props and stuff, too, right?
Not in the movie.
Oh, in the movie they took his props away?
They took his props away.
That's a bad time to suddenly take away everything you know about comedy. You've been using props now all your life for comedy.
See, that's how talented I am, Conan. I didn't even use props.
Now we're going to take him away when you make your first movie. Was he okay, though, with it? He was cool?
He was great. He did a wonderful job.
Do you have a scene where you and him embraced?
Yeah, lots of making out.
Oh, for God's sake.
We did.
Nothing but making out.
We were naked
It's like 9.5 weeks, but Carrot Top.
That's funny.
We were naked from first day. Never met her.
Wow.
Check out that movie.
Is it called 9.5 Seconds?
Norm.
Like he's premature ejaculator.
You know what happened? This is what happened. You know what happened? He said 9.5 seconds, and I'm looking at him because I know there's more. And I wait, and I see the glimmer in the eye, and then bang! I thought you were going to, but no. But what's the movie going to be called? Really?
I know what it's going to be called.
Yeah, what's that?
If it's got Carrot Top in it, you know what a good name for it would be?
What's that, Norm?
Box Office Poison.
Well, he's dead.
He's in it.
No,
What about my career?
Courtney Thorne Smith, the girl sitting to your left, is in the movie.
I'm going to go see it for fun.
After you scare everybody else away?
No, I love this girl. I would see any movie with this girl in it. She's a beautiful lady and a talented, nice talk show guest.
As evidenced by her appearance on our rival show. All right, well, there's this 2-hour season finale of Melrose Place. There's this movie coming out.
Yes.
Title undetermined at this point.
Chairman of the board.
Oh, all right. Do something with that, you freak.
I bet the board is spelled B-O-R-E-D.
Funny Norm. Yeah, I don't
It's
know
funny.
anyone
I love
knew
it. People
Norm.
always think that bothered me. That didn't bother me. It's
No.
like, no, Jesus.
Yeah, that's what comedians do. I
Right.
get it. But I mean, like
My job
again, it's kind of as a society, it's like when I was younger, we had like the go-to fat person.
Right, sure.
And it was Orson Welles, and it was Shelley
Berman?
No, Shelley Berman's a dude. I'm talking about the
Shelley Berman is a dude.
Shelley Winters.
He was Shelley
and then it turned into Sally Struthers later on. But it's like we'd have to just go, because I'm fat, but I'm not Orson Welles fat or something. All right. So we had this thing, and we had to have like some sort of poster child for everybody. And somehow, when we're making fun of comedians, it was like it had to be a Carrot Top jab in there. And now we don't. I don't think we really do that anymore, do we?
I don't think so. I mean, one of my openers one time said it's kind of hacked to do that now because it's been done. They beat the hell out of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you're still working and you're still doing. Like I write jokes every day. Like I wrote one last night, and actually I posted. Your guy back there's pretty good. Maybe you can find that one.
You put on
my Instagram. I did it just today. But it's a brand new joke that shows and you're like it's Vegas, but it happened just last night. I was driving home before the show, and there's a billboard, and I just said there's a joke there, and we did it, and it killed. But it was a gimme. You knew it was going to work.
Right.
We can. You guys can find it. Carrot Top Live. Instagram.
Carrot Top Live Instagram.
The last post, I think I just. Now you can just see the relative of doing a new joke that just like you're proud of like a new.
Yeah.
I go back to before you told that. I like going back to the Conan when he was just absolutely freaked out that I didn't do props. I find that funny. Like people would say before, way back when in radio shows when you do the punchline or the whatever, they'd say, we have you do radio, but Carrot Top, we're not going to do radio. And I'm like, I'm not doing props on the radio. I'll come in and talk and tell conversations, and I have jokes. I have stand-up jokes. Well, and they were shocked. They were like, Carrot Top. I went on Howard Stern. He was like, you didn't bring your box. I'm like, I mean, I could have brought my box of props on Howard Stern, but it was like I told stories, and he was like, you're great without props.
Well, Gallagher. Back in the day.
Sure.
Everyone remembers Gallagher with the sledge-o-matic and the roller skates and everything. But Gallagher did a lot of
all of his
societal humor.
Like an hour stand-up. And then he'd hit the melons and all that. But it was an hour of stand-up.
Yeah, and it was like Mort Sully, George Carlin, political stuff, edgy, interesting. And then he'd bring out a giant bed and jump up and down on it. And people go, that's that guy jumps on the bed, right? Well, what about the 57 minutes?
Right. No, that's all they remembered, right?
Social commentary before that,
Exactly.
So in a weird way, Carrot Top's got a little bit of the Gallagher syndrome.
People walk up to me and say that. They'll say, we saw you in Hermosa Beach in 72. And I'm like, no, it wasn't me. And then you got us wet. You hit that watermelon. I'm like, what I mean, a lot of times. So we've come up with a bit, not we're doing it much anymore, but we used to do a thing where I would say to the crowd, I hit the watermelon at the end to the front row because they were always, looked like they were waiting for the wrong guy.
Right.
And then one night Gallagher came. Now this one you could find later. This is great. So he came to my show 5 nights in a row.
5 nights in a row. How long ago is this?
About 8 years ago, before he passed. He came to the show, and he came every day. And my manager called me and said, your buddy's here. And now he was one of my heroes. I literally, when I was 12, 13 years old, I knew him, and I used to write him jokes.
Oh, really?
Well, I would try to, and he would say, "Where did you get that?" And I'd say, "Well, I wrote it, So he would do it on stage, and he'd say, "Ah, Scott, this guy." I wasn't Carrot Top then. I just. So he came to my show 5 times in a row, and he sat there on the side and just frowned, just watching. No, nothing. Mm-hmm. I got done. It was a great show. I got done, and I just thought I just get the best show I could possibly do in front of Gallagher. And I walked off stage, and he said, he said, all right, I have a whole bunch of stuff to change. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, what? And he said, everything. I mean, everything from the beginning you step on stage to the end, it's all wrong. You got to move your trunks this way. You got to do this. You don't do this. Don't show a video. Don't do. Why are you doing? And I was like, 5 nights in a row, and they were great shows. And he's like, take my advice or not. And then I said, can I? I said, we should do something. So the next night, they said, Gallagher's here again. I said, fuck. So we went to the grocery store, and we got a watermelon. Mm-hmm. And I went to my warehouse, and I had an old prop that I used to do. It was like a big hammer. I used to make jokes that I would hit the watermelon. So he's there, and I said, you want to do something fun? And he said, no. I said, at the end, I'm going to build this thing up that at the end I hit the watermelon. and then when I go off for my encore, you're going to come out. I'm going to put the watermelon down on the stool, and you're going to come out, and you do whatever. I didn't tell him what he needed to do. Whatever you think's funny. So it's the best video ever. So he comes out, put the watermelon down, and I go to hit it with the hammer. And he comes running out, grabs the watermelon, and shoves me so hard that I fall to the ground. Like, he was so mad. The crowd was like in horror, but they went nuts because it was Gallagher. Literally, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, white-haired guy. I mean, it wasn't, And then afterwards, he was all mad. And he's like, "What are you gonna do with that?" I said, "Nothing. We're just for our for us. He's like, post it on Twitter." No, we don't have to. But I think the crowd would like it. It's an honor. It's homage to you.
He went kind of nuts. At some point in his life, and then his brother took his act, and then he sued his brother.
If I only had a brother to do me, Carrot Top 2, could you imagine? The comedy world would go crazy.
It's all so weird, and it's sad,
no, it's weird.
and it's.
I know them both really well.
Both the
Gallaghers, yeah.
Well, what was the story?
Because I was doing comedy clubs, and he wanted to put another guy in there he wanted to always have another Gallagher. It was kind of like having another Blue Man Group. I mean, he thought he was a brand. He was a brand, Gallagher, and he thought, hey, let's have another Gallagher out on the road, like Blue Man Group in a sense. So, oh my God, Gallagher's everywhere.
So Gallagher was the biggest comedian in the world for a period of time.
Absolutely.
Right.
Sure.
And so he thought of it like franchising. Like, hey, why do we have one In-N-Out burger?
Right, we have two.
We have two.
I mean, and he was an absolute twin of him.
Oh, he was a twin.
Twin. They would do, years ago, he'd come out first, and everyone's like, oh, Gallagher, like a magician where they, they make you look over here.
Right.
And the real Gallagher would come out and spray everybody and hit them with, water guns. And they're like, oh my God, there's two. And it was amazing, right?
So what happened with his brother then?
Well, you want to know the story?
Yeah, I do. I'm
story.
interested in it. Breeze. All right, let's talk about drinking without the next day regret. Yeah, you want a breeze, not a hangover. Meet Breeze, spelled B-R-E-Z, pronounced breeze. This isn't your average seltzer. We're talking hemp-derived, THC, CBD, functional mushrooms, nootropics, adaptogens, all in one can. You'll feel it in about 10 minutes. Yeah, I had one of these the other day. Very relaxing. Very relaxing. Lasts about an hour and a half, like a cocktail, but you keep your dignity. Yeah, very smooth, tastes good, just mellow, have it at night, just kind of chillax. Sparkling, lightly sweetened with agave, all organic, vegan, non-GMO. No weird stuff, no hangovers, no regrets, just brighter colors, louder laughs, tastier snacks. It's Breeze, right, Dawson?
Ready to experience the future of drinking? Head to try.drinkbreeze.com/Carolla and use code Carolla for a $5 credit and free shipping on your first order. Breeze. Drinking has evolved. Consult with a physician before you use if you're pregnant, nursing, or have any known or suspected allergies or medical conditions or are taking any medication. FDA has not evaluated these products for safety or efficacy. Products are intended for 21 and older.
Homes.com. Well, some might say Homes.com is the best shopping site for homes, maybe because their super comprehensive, transparent agent directory, or maybe it's that Homes.com is the only site that always directly connects you with the listing agent who knows the home the best. Perhaps it's because Homes.com has the most in-depth neighborhood content of any home shopping site that's extensively researched to highlight the personality of each neighborhood. Or maybe it's all the above. That's what I think it is. Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth info they need to find the right home. Homes.com. That's Homes.com. We've done your homework.
So Gallagher wanted to do a show on New Year's Eve in Detroit. So he called up and said, I want to play the Meadowbrook, whatever it's called, New Year's Eve. And they said, we already have Gallagher booked. And they said, no, I'm Gallagher. And they said, no, we have Gallagher booked at the whatever. Mm-hmm. The other, this is weird, at the other venue. So Gallagher said, well, I'm going to get rid of the other Gallagher. I'm playing. Mm-hmm. So he called his brother and said, you got to cancel your show. I'm playing Detroit. And his brother said, no. And that's what all started.
How many years was he doing Gallagher too?
That I don't know exactly the number of years, but he was doing it for a while. And the only thing that was not, I think, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, copacetic as me being a Gallagher fanatic, was we went into a club one night in the middle of nowhere. We were on the road, and we went to this like little Holiday Inn, and it said, Gallagher. We walked in, and sure enough, it was his brother. And so Gallagher had, charisma and charm, and he was, he had it. The other guy looked like him, but he didn't have the delivery, he didn't have the charm, he didn't have the style, he didn't have the, the mojo. And so the crowd he would just go, and here's a shit and duck, and whatever joke he did. But the crowd was like savvy enough to say that it's not like funny.
Right.
Where Gallagher was brilliantly funny.
Right.
So that part of it also failed because I think he didn't have the edge he looked like him, but
such a bizarre story.
We need a Carrot Top too. Wouldn't that be great?
I wouldn't mind a doppelganger go out and do all the work.
Threes.
So, speaking of that, I don't know. You got brothers and sisters?
I have a brother. Yeah, flies. He was an Air Force pilot.
Air Force
F-16.
F-16.
Yeah, his name is Garrett, and I call him Garrett Top. And but yeah, he flies. Now he flies for Southwest. In fact, flies into Burbank all the time here.
Wow. So your brother flies F-16s or flew F-16s for Navy or Air Force.
Air Force.
And then your Carrot Top, which is, I don't know, how much space you can sort of get between two brothers. A sort of one goes into the priesthood and the other becomes a porno director or something like that.
That's probably happened.
I'm sure, but flying the F-16 and Carrot Top are pretty big chasms.
Pretty different. I mean, I do a whole thing in my show about it. I mean, it was I say my whole adopted life I wanted to do that. I mean, my dad worked at NASA and was an engineer for everything from Gemini to Skylab to Apollo and shuttle. My brother went to the Air Force Academy, and I'm, gluing dildos on walkers. I mean, that's, give me a rubber chicken and a tennis racket, I got to do.
Well, what was, so for you, it just hit early. I mean, class clown kind of stuff, sitting in.
I was really not the class clown. I was a very quiet kid. I never really said anything. And my dad was so strict, working at NASA. My dad was funny in that sense. He would always have the jokes, come home and say, an old joke.
Dad joke.
And it was great. And, around the neighborhood. So I would take those jokes and I'd go to school, and then I would say, hey, on the bus, here's one. And then I'd get in trouble. Like, you can't do this joke in front of the kids. I'm like, well, my dad did it in the driveway. It was funny. But, I was really quiet. And then all of a sudden I was like 16 or something. And I started writing like things down in my head, things that would just be observationally funny. Like there's a Crime Watch sign, and I took it, and someone said, I said, how good is their Crime Watch if they're not watching their signs? I mean, so it was kind of like, oh, it's clever. It's kind of, it's a visual, it's a prop, but it had a cleverness to it. Yeah. And that's when I started writing those kind of things. And, there'd be a sign, slow children at play, and they'd have no feet. And I said, well, no wonder they're slow. They don't need feet. Right. And so that became my first routine on stage with
Did people recognize, like your dad or your brother or your mom or a teacher? Was there any... Yeah, I know.
No, I told my dad I was doing comedy. He said, you're not funny. Swear to God. And I said, no, but but you got to come check it out. So my dad came down and saw me, and he was like, where did you come from? I just was so quiet and sheltered. I never was an spoken guy. So when he came to the show, he was like, wow, what a different, I'm on stage jumping around like crazy. And he was.
How early on is this?
Probably when I first, late 20s in college. That's when I started doing. I would do open mics, and you'd win a Walkman. That's how old I am. So seriously, you would win. I won so many times. I won like 40 Walkmans, and I'm like, can I just get paid? And they said, the Walkman. So I would have piles and piles of Walkmans, and I would just give them away to people. Like, where are you getting these? Are you stealing? I said, no, I'm winning them at these comedy clubs.
And they would. I'm glad they gave something away.
Then I'd say, can you run with a Walkman? See, I'd come up with some bit with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's your mind works that way. And you and I are old enough to know that it wasn't generally supported back then.
Sure.
Because people weren't really into figuring out potential for young people. It was a weird thing. Like, you know, I sit around, and plus I have conversations with people like, your son, what's he good at? What's he wants to do? No one figured out what I wanted to do.
Right.
And by the way, they didn't come from that world. You got a job.
Right.
They didn't. Where I come from, no one said the word career.
Right.
They just go, you got to get a job. So
Sure,
get a job.
sure.
And the job would be, I said to somebody yesterday, I got a pamphlet for driving an ambulance. I could be an ambulance driver in 7 weeks or something if I went to this thing. And I was also attempting to be a merchant marine. And the answer is, what do those two have to do with each other? And the answer is a job. I wanted a job.
Right.
That's
Not
all.
really a career, just I did a job.
Yeah, career was a weird kind of luxury item.
And you probably didn't think, as I did, that would be a career. That's why I think our parents were like, what are you doing? And I'm in college. I'm getting a degree in marketing, but I'm going to do comedy. They're like, no, you're going to get a job.
Oh,
they didn't think it'd be a career. I mean, and nor did I. I was just having fun, making enough money to buy beer and drive my car around.
Well, when did it hit for you then? What was the big kind of, I mean, when did you get into the zeitgeist, as they say?
Well, I started doing, I don't know, what originally happened was I was doing pretty good, and then I couldn't get gigs lined up, and I was so stressed out, I just quit, and I moved back. I lived, born and raised in the area of Orlando. I moved back there, the typical, sounds like a joke, 4 roommates, and I was shucking oysters, and I was at the bar one night shucking oysters, and these 2 couples came in, and I'm shucking oysters, and
You're working at the bar.
Yeah, and and there was a jukebox, and I'd be dancing, doing. That's where I had my, these people looked at me and they said, "My God, you have a brother?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "But looks like you?" And I said, "No, my brother's blonde. We're a pilot." "Oh no, this guy we saw, he's a comic. We saw him in Tampa, he's like Carrot Top or something." And I said, "Oh really?" I said, "He was so good. Oh my God, you just remind me of him so much." And I just went, after my break that night, I went home and I called the guy that used to book clubs, and I said, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm shucking oysters. And he said, "What? Fuck, you're Carrot Top." I said, "Yeah." He said, "You got to get back." So I got back in and did a show, and that led to something. And then there was like MTV, something I got on like Comic Strip Live. And that was, I was so, I didn't have, everyone had, I would always say, you do 10, you do a trunk.
Right.
And I would, I had just enough to do 3 minutes on a TV show. So I had all my A stuff, the Crime Watch sign, all the stuff I started with. And I got that show, and then it was like, I think I'm on TV. I still wasn't like but I thought maybe I'm not a career yet, but I'm doing something. And then I got Sunday Comics, and then there was the Tonight Show. And so when I remember getting the Tonight Show, I thought, all right, this is legit. It's NBC.
That's Leno Tonight
on
Show.
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks after Carson had left. I was standing on that.
Yeah, it's close, right?
Literally 2 or 3 weeks, and I was standing on that star. It was still the old studio, and you're standing on that gold star
behind the stage, behind the curtain.
And no, when you walk out.
Oh,
and
walk out.
And I would do my first, rehearsal, and I'm standing there and I'm looking down, and I'm like, there's 40, 75 people in the studio. All the guy was still there that did Ed DeCordova. All the people are still there, producers, everybody, and I'm just standing on the Carson Gold Star, thinking, all right, this is weird. Like,
right,
I might have done something okay, and it set went great, and I got done. It was just, I think that was the moment I thought, I'm on NBC. I think I could do all right. And then it just kind of, things went on, and we did Chairman of the BORED, and then, So yeah, it was a whole bunch of stuff. Speaking of age, I think this is funny. This is not a joke. I didn't plan this. I was on a plane just now, and this guy next to me, he's an old guy, leans over and says, "Damn, Carrot Top." I said, "Yeah." He says, "You and I have something in common." I said, "Oh," I'm thinking my dad worked at NASA, or, I lived in California. I said, "Oh, what do we have in common?" He says, "Both 65. And I said, "What?" He goes, 65, you and I. I said, I'm not 65. He goes, oh, I thought you were born in 65. I said, born in is different than being 60. Jesus.
Yeah.
We're both 65. No, I'm born in 65. That's a little different.
People have a weird relationship, I realize, with just reality in general. I've just kind of realized that they're sort of walk through life in some sort of half-cocked haze or something. And I'm funny, Norm Macdonald. So the two guys, I used to get Gilbert Godfrey and Norm Macdonald, and Gilbert died and Norm died. And a year later, I was crossing PCH, and a guy stopped at the thing. He was in his car, and he's like, hey, Norm! And I was like, he's dead. He's dead. Like, when is this ever going to end? Like, what do you got to do to not? And I realized everyone's just sort of walking around in some sort of weird malaise of information that they're sort of half, like there's like half Christian, half into Santeria or something like weird. Like, I don't even know what they're thinking, but you know what always amazes me is how functional they are.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you talk to them, they don't know anything, they can't figure out. I'm in front of my house, and I got a pressure washer out, and I'm pressure washing. And by the way, the pressure washer, it's addicting. It's really, you get, once you get into it.
You want to start doing your neighbor's driveway now. Like this
it's not only that. It's like, I swear to God, you'll be in the house and be like, oh, somebody spilled a Coke and that's in the ashtray. I'll get the pressure washer. It's like, well, just put it in the sink. Oh, no. Here's how you know you're out of control with the pressure washer. With the shit you're pressure washing is being blown down the street. Like, I tried to pressure wash a small trash can. It would just roll. I was chasing it with the pressure washer because it doesn't need. But I'm out front. And a woman must have been 55, 60. She comes by and she goes, where did you get your water feature? And I said, you were talking to the pressure washer? She goes, yeah, I live in Arizona, and I don't have a hose long enough to get to the end of the driveway. I go, you want a bigger hose? What is that? I was like, it's a pressure washer. Well, I live in Arizona, and it's like, wait a minute, what's going on? So you're calling it a water feature is what's in front of the Bellagio. It's a fucking fountain. It's a pressure washer. Have you not seen people on sidewalks, in the wee hours? Like,
beautiful.
And she was like, I need one for my driveway. And I'm like, have you not... Are we talking about a hose? And then, by the way, how are you navigating life?
Right. How'd you get this far?
How'd you when you go to a Chipotle? How do you order? Then you get in your car, and then you start your car, and then you know where you live. Like, how does all this work? You can't figure.
No, you see old people, and you're like, God, man, they've done something good. I mean, to get that old, to get that far, because you see people just dumb as bricks. That's how we survive. That's how we survive, right? The stupidity in this world is why we have jobs.
Mesmerized by a water. Okay, we have the clip, by the way. The Instagram. The Instagram.
But we also we didn't set it up that good. It's not that good. It was just someone saying, "When you write new jokes?" I would say, "No, I'm still doing Nixon jokes. Come to the show." No, it's one of those. I thought of it and we put it in the same night, so it was kind of fun.
All right,
let's see if it's good.
Vegas can also fuck with you, right? I love this billboard for the Sahara. Hey, meet me at the pool. Yeah. Then you get there and like, that's
It's all sausage trash.
Yeah,
but I mean, the reality that though is true. They have these ads, the same at the buffet. You get there and there's no goddamn buffet. Yeah. But that's a great big billboard. Meet me at the pool, and this hot girl, and then you get there and it's like 75 gay guys.
Yeah, it's every single. I mean, I think it kind of starts with prostitution. Like, there's female prostitutes who are with males, and then there's male prostitutes who are with males.
Right.
And then there's, swingers, whatever. Sure. Like it's always an issue. There's not enough hot chicks to go around. But why should they being in such abundance. You know what I mean? They know they're in demand. I mean, and being a beautiful woman is kind of ultimate celebrity stuff, if you think about it.
Sure.
So you come from a traditional family.
Yes,
I would say.
I think very traditional. Yeah.
I would say very, considering your brother and your dad and your mom.
She was a stripper in Vegas, but the rest of them
Other than that,
pretty straightforward.
So, and you don't have children, right? And never, have you never been married?
No.
Why do you think that?
Not to quote Bill Maher, but I whenever someone talks with Bill Maher about that, you're at your age, you haven't been married, never had children. What's wrong with you? And he always says, "What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with me. What's wrong with you? I've just been that way. I've always been my parents got divorced when I was young. Not that really was the deciding factor, but everyone in my neighborhood that I grew up with my entire life ended up divorced.
Yeah,
and I just observed from a distance, and I was like, and also being on the road as a comic, I was just always working. There was no time for girlfriends. There's no time for relationships. And if there was, right before you go on stage, she'd call, "Where are you?" "I'm fucking getting ready to go on stage." Like, what do you mean, where am I? I hate, that's my biggest pet peeve of being in a relationship, is they call you and you know what you're doing. Like, I'm at work.
Yeah.
Why are you not home now? Well, I'm at my meet and greet. Like, you know where I'm at.
I totally agree. I feel the same way with women.
Imagine being like the president, though. Imagine that, where he's just every second of the day he's got to be something, and the wife would go, "Where are I'm in a staff meeting. I'm on the Air Force One. I'm going to. Well, you were supposed to be in Berlin this morning. How come you're not in Berlin? We got delayed with the thing. We got Secret Service." Like, I'm just a stupid comedian. I can't handle it. Yeah,
women do a weird, like, I condescendingly have said to many women I've been with, "I'm working. Right, they go, "What's going on? Where are you? It's Saturday. How come you're not?" I go, "I'm working.
Yeah.
I'm working."
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, I get it.
As if they know where you are. Like, I'm at the Luxor in my dressing room at 8:00 going on stage. Where are you?
Of all the comedians, 20 years, I mean, you got to know your schedule. But so how's it work? You date, you have a girlfriend who understands things, or how's that work?
I just kind of, just free, just whatever. I don't really have any relationships or no. I date my props, So I like being single. Going where I like to go and be where I got to be when I got to be.
No, I get it. I think, listen.
My whole crew's married. I said, "Oh, you guys have fun with your wives tonight," and they all leave. And what are you going to do? I'm going to sit back here in the backstage and just have a drink and unwind and watch Sports Center.
I get it, because I'm very much wired that way.
You're miserable. Yeah.
No, listen. I am very happy I have kids, but they don't always make it easy.
Oh,
that's for damn sure. And you do. I literally I was running around this morning, and I got the call from my daughter going, "Hey, what about that bed we talked about? Can you?" And I just went, "I'm real busy right now, but if you call me between 4 and 5, I can, I can put some attention toward it." But for me, it's really weird because it's I think it's more difficult for me than it is for regular folk who grew up in a normal family, because my parents never did anything for me or anybody else. So when, if your daughter goes, "Well, I want a Mercedes, but I want it to be a convertible," and then I go, "All right, I'll get you a Mercedes, but it's not going to be a convertible." They go, I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" I couldn't get.
I didn't. We grew up the same. I didn't get anything like that ever.
Well, people didn't.
But we didn't have money. We weren't broke. We lived in a very modest neighborhood. But getting new shoes. I got my brother's old shoes.
People didn't feel compelled. Adults didn't feel compelled to make children sort of like their number one customer, like in a weird way. you know, that scene in Pretty Woman where Larry Miller comes out and he finds out that now Julia Roberts is hanging out with this billionaire, and he comes up and he just starts sucking up to her. You know what I mean? Every parent is that way with a kid now. Sure. And when I was a kid, like parents like, get out.
Absolutely.
I'm not giving no. And by the way, they would just say no. You know what I mean? Like you'd go like, hey, can we go to the Sizzler on no?
Yeah,
they didn't go like they didn't explain anything. Oh. Could I get a mini butt? No.
No.
How about a go-kart? No. How about we go tonight? We get some pie. No.
Same.
It was like, all right, no.
No, we knew that. Literally, that's the answer to everything was the same. And my dad, if you wanted something, he'd build it.
Oh.
So I'm like,
oh, because he was an engineer guy.
But he built everything. He built his home house.
Oh, really?
So he'd say, like, get a TV. I'm going to build it, and I'd have to help him build. I helped him build the house. I built him. I mean, I watch these things on sports and all with these guys, and they show that, and people are like, oh, that's bull. I said, no, that's not bullshit. That was me too. I was that kid. My dad made me work in the yard every morning. Every day, I'd have to do something.
Would he
wash the car, do the thing?
So if you said to your dad, I want to build a go-kart, he'd say,
no, my dad made it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He'd make the go-kart.
But it wasn't just like, okay. He was like, all right, well, I'm gonna see if I can make it. And he'd spent a long time making it, and it wasn't as good as if you went and just bought one.
Right.
But it was cool. My dad, made me one. I have pictures of that too. So it's made out of wood and shit. He made it and put decals in it, and he was proud of it.
Right.
But we never got anything new, and I remember my friends would be over at the house like, "That's an interesting credenza." I said, "What? My dad built it." Like, what? Everything we had to build.
So your dad was like a fabricator.
Yeah, he really was.
And that's kind of interesting. And he had a garage full of tools.
Oh, every tool, and it circled around with numbers on it, literally. So if you had a screwdriver, it would be outlined where it went if it was gone. Seriously.
Yeah.
And you get your ass whooped if it was gone. That was my very first prop. It's so dumb, but it was the very first prop that I made. My dad, we lived in this Orange Grove at the time, and there was they were building homes, and we'd take all the lumber, and I built a fort, but I mean like a 2-story fort. I kind of got that from my dad. I was kind of crafty. So my dad, came home one day and he said, "Where's my hammer?" And I said, "I don't know." And it was, you see it wasn't in the
outline.
And I said, "I don't know." And he went looking. He went to my fort, came back, and he says, "Huh. It's in your fort." I said, "Oh." And he goes, "No, I'm like 9. He says, "How did it get in there?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "It just walked in there by itself." So he went to work that day, or that next day, and I went and I found a doll, and I screwed arms and legs on the hammer, and he came home from work, and I said, it did walk in there. But now I'm 8 or 9. So that's the first thing that I actually made, and my dad looked at me like, "What the fuck is it?" I said, "It did walk in there." My dad just looked at me like, "Where did you get?" I said, "I made it." Like, he was just dumbfounded that I made this hammer with legs and arms on it. But that's where it all, that's what started the process of building stupid shit.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And now 40 years later, hey, we're still building it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for you,
I made one for Cialis and Viagra that day. This commercial said, "Get your Cialis and Viagra from Friday Plans. They deliver it to your house on unmarked white envelopes." And I said, every time I watch this commercial, I want just the opposite. I want my neighbors to know that I've got Viagra. I want the FedEx box coming and sirens and whistles. So I built this FedEx box that's got sirens and wee. And I walk out, my deck, I got my Viagra. And it gets such a laugh, but it's a silliness. But people see the commercial, and then they see the prop, and then you end by saying, "This wasn't easy to make. The kids in the sweatshop make it. I just build it."
How much of your stuff do you make?
Almost all of it, unless my dad would make a couple.
Your dad would
when
make
he was
you
alive.
props.
Yeah, well, because I would call him, and if it was something that needed engineering to it, and it was like speaking of NASCAR. I know I'm a big, huge race fan. I saw your cars in here. I'm a big fan of NASCAR. I don't know why. The race was in Vegas or something. I said, I need a NASCAR joke. So I had this Tony Stewart helmet, and I got these little NASCARs, and I had it in my head what I wanted, but I couldn't make it. So I called my dad, and I said, "Dad, I need you to, can you make this? And I'm trying to explain it to him. I faxed, a picture of what I'm talking to him. He got it and goes, all right. So he went and got a motor and built it in the car, and you hit a button and the cars would go around like this. So I said, this is what you wear if you can't go to the race, but you feel like you're actually there.
Right.
And it's like, right,
and
the sound effect guy would hit
Right.
And it's still, I haven't done it in the show in a while, but it's a classic. But, my dad made it. And I was like, how did you make it? I said, my dad made it. He said, I can make this.
That's sweet. And I mean it. And I
didn't pay him anything.
I built my kids lots of stuff because I was a builder, and I liked it. I liked the process. I liked what it was. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I think it was sort of like the mom making you your favorite meal, and taking all day to do it kind of thing. Like, I thought that was cool. I've always done that. I built my daughter, she wanted the raised bed with the drawers under it and all that kind of stuff, and I built her that. And then son, I built a loft bed and stuff, and I always thought
like
that
my
was
dad.
cool. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing in that, and I don't want to sound corny, but it's kind of love language, which is I like doing stuff for people, like tangible stuff. The guys that just do all the wordsmithing, it's great, but I like the physical, like fixing stuff, like doing stuff like that to me, and I like the roles. I like the mom making the favorite cake for their birthday, and the dad in the garage making the gift.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine with that, and I like it, and I think there should be more of it, and I do think there's a sanity in it. Like when you're in your workshop and you're trying to put something together, and there's some like trial and error, and you're trying to figure it out and trying to kind of wrap your mind around it and design it, like there's a real sanity in that. Like you're not out of this. You're not worried about what Hamas is up to or what Sydney Sweeney's doing. It's just here, workshop, tools, project, tangible.
Yeah, and my dad enjoyed that. He would love if I had something I could give him to fix. And if it was a coaster, I would give it. And my impression of my dad would be the same. He would. I'd say, there's something wrong with this thing, and he would have a cigarette, and he'd go. And the smoke's going in his eyes, and he'd go, all right, and he'd fix it. He'd come back 10 minutes later and go, there. Right. How did you do that? He's like, I got it.
This summer, Pluto TV is exploding with thousands of free movies. Summer of Cinema is here. Feel the explosive action all summer long with movies like Gladiator, Mission Impossible, Beverly Hills Cop, Good Burger, and Transformers: Dark of the Moon. Bring the action with you and stream for free from all your favorite devices. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Yeah. Want to keep your car on the road? Well, that's their business. O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts offers friendly, helpful service, parts, and the knowledge you need to maintain and do repairs. And the last 2 weeks, I got a battery jumper box from O'Reilly. I got the sawdust you throw down to sop up all the hydraulic fluid. Had a hose bust on a hoist. Now I got the water wetter. Getting ready for the race car. Got to put it in the radiator. So, whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll find the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts are knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, they are friendly. So, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Do it today, or you can visit us online at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. Well, once you get good...
This is broken, by the way.
My coaster. Once you get good at solving problems, it becomes kind of universal, sort of mechanically. I've realized, when you're just good at sort of sussing out problems and fixing problems and whatever that is, and they all contribute. All the different projects of life sort of contribute. Then you kind of become an expert at almost everything. Like your dad wasn't kind of an expert at everything because he'd done such a variety of things, right? So he built the house you guys grew up in.
Yeah, and I did. We put on every damn tile, everything. One thing my dad was, I thought was kind of cool because my dad. I was at the age where I thought, of course, the Space Center was pretty cool, but I was at the age I didn't want to go to a launch. I didn't want to go. I wanted to watch TV. I wanted to play my friends on my bikes, and he's no, we're going to a launch. We're going to watch. And I don't know how old we had gone to the. I was probably 13, and I'm like just miserable, and we're going to watch the launch. And
is that Cape Canaveral?
Cape Canaveral. My dad, of course, is with all the astronauts, and we're just sitting there, and he says, "All right, what do you want? What do you want?" Because there's like tents. They had a beer tent, and they had like a soda, popcorn, candy, hot dogs, Coke tent. I said, "I'll just take a hot dog and a Coke." And my dad looked at the line, at the beer line. There was 2 people in the beer line, and there was like 50 people waiting for the hot dog. Somebody says, "You're gonna have a beer."
How old were you?
13. Yeah, 13. And I remember thinking it was just funny because I'm like, my dad's gonna give me a beer. And my dad was not anywhere near cool enough to say you're gonna have a beer, but he didn't want to wait in that line to get a Coke. So he just hands me this beer, and I'm just like, okay. And he's like, well, try it. And I took a sip. He's like, no. I said, and don't tell your mom this, of course. But I drank, I don't know how much of it. I drank enough where I think I saw 3 launches. But, first you come home, and first thing, your mom says, how was the launch? I said, I had a beer.
Right, yeah.
I just told you not to.
Yeah. Yeah, the rat now.
But he built the I digress a little bit, but one night we're dinner table or something, and my dad was just stressed out. He just kept, I don't know, he was just angry at everybody. He kept storming out, and my mom's like, no, he's working on something at work. And so I went out to where he worked in his workshop. I said, what are you working on? And he just looked at me like, do you want to know? And I said, yeah. So he takes this, and this is crazy. He takes this little thing out. He shows me the space shuttle and the 747.
Uh-huh.
And I said, okay, I've been watching that on TV. I saw him doing that. So he said, I have to invent, not just him, a whole bunch of engineers and his team have to invent a clamp to hold the the shuttle onto the 747.
Yeah.
Which they did out.
It's miraculous.
And then it has to release. They don't crash. It has to hold there's right now. Like my dad's like, it's got to hold the strength of the heaviness of the shuttle, which is 1 billion pounds, on top of a 747, which is 6 million pounds. It's all numbers and graphs and charts and these numbers and he said now it's got to release and then go up, and this goes and the shuttle comes and then has to land. And I'm like, that's what you're stressed about? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I don't think it's that hard, Dad. He's like, it's a little hard. But that's the kind of shit my dad was like working on. And they actually made that clamp and it landed out here at the California, them all watching Edwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all watching. I remember my dad, he's at home and came home. He's like, he looked over me and said, worked. And I said, I remember you in the workshop with your ruler and your numbers and your calculator. And
that's crazy. Yeah. First off, I just went and looked at the shuttle that was at the Intrepid Museum in New York recently. I brought my son, and I was like, it's incredible. Yeah. The space shuttle is insane because it's big and it's heavy and it rides on top of a 747, which sounds insane, and it weighs so much. That's when you really realize what a 747 can do. But the wings on the space shuttle offer lift as well, so it's not just the 747 lifting the entire weight of the shuttle. The shuttle's lifting itself because of its wings. But the thing that's crazy about the shuttle is when it comes back into Earth's orbit, it'll be like over Spain or something. And then it got to land in the Mojave Desert. Yeah. And it has no power. It just glides.
Right. No, it just glides.
So you better get your calculations right. Because you're over Ecuador or something, and you're going to land in the Mojave Desert, and you can't go around again. No. You don't have power.
No, you get one shot.
You get one land.
Like landing on the moon. That was one shot at that. They got one shot.
And at the very end,
they're not going to come down.
This thing that weighs as much as 40 Cadillac SUVs are 140 or 1,000. It just comes in at the very end. They just flare, and it just touches down
it's magical.
ever so softly.
It's elegant, yeah.
So your dad was on the team that designed that clamp.
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy because you got to clamp it and you got to release it.
Right.
And
that's embedded over my headboard, by the way.
You got to clamp and release. And you cannot damage the fuselage of...
Yeah, no, it's a delicate piece of... The whole thing is just unbelievable. That's what it is. It's magic. It's like, and then people say, "Oh, I didn't really land on the moon." Oh, I find that funny too because I'm one of those guys that like if there was a billion people that worked at the Space Center since the '60s. Mm-hmm. There hasn't been one person that actually worked there that came out like a whistleblower that said we didn't.
I feel like someone would come forward.
I think someone would come forward, but I think we landed on the mess. I think was it Buzz Aldrin? They just fucking clocked that guy when he came out of the hotel. Yeah, you really didn't land on the moon. He fucking just got
Buzz is up. I think I did my first Toyota Long Beach Celebrity Grand Prix with Buzz Aldrin.
Awesome.
He was a feisty old dude.
Like, he punched this guy right and then just knocked him right out.
He was what I would call serious.
Yeah.
He was a serious guy. Back when men used to be serious,
Yeah, they actually had hair in the chest. I don't have any hair.
Now they're all just wearing Van slip-ons and have all their rope bracelets and shit, and they're drinking their energy drinks, and they're not serious anymore. But he comes from a place where he was serious.
Yeah.
And he was like, I remember once I saw him, you'd see him and then you'd see him again. I go, Buzz, where are you doing? I was at an F-80 convention. Best airplane ever made. Like, I was like, okay, all right, sorry. You almost punched me. Can Buzz Aldrin still be alive?
Well, I don't know. But the last time I saw when he punched that guy out was not that long ago. He might still be alive. I think he's still alive. Yeah.
He's falling under the heading of he's too old to still be alive, but on the other hand, if he was dead, we'd know.
Yeah, that's one of those.
But he could have died during COVID. And anyone who died during COVID, I have no
He's still alive. He's still alive.
Is he like 93 or something? He blew up like 3 Toyota engines, by the way. Yeah, he just 95 years young, still punching out.
That's what we always think. We have that. We all do that backstage. But just someone the other day just died. I said, he's already dead. They said, no, he's not dead.
Yeah.
I thought like Check Mangione was dead like 30 years ago. And they go, no.
Lonnie Anderson was dead. Yeah. It's
we always do. I'm like, oh, they're not?
No, but when you start realizing, you got Norm and all these people, you go like, all right, well, who's the next class of dead people? And I think you're talking to them. Well, that's going to be the next wave.
I mean,
we do the math, right?
We're not you and me. We're still young pups. But
but you guys listening. Yeah. Buzz competed in 2003. I think that was the first year I did it. I don't think he was that good, but he was very earnest.
Yeah, I would think he would be.
But your dad was a serious guy.
Oh yeah.
But he made you props for your show.
Well, once in a while, a few. Yeah,
a few.
I had to make one that was really intense. I don't know how he did this, but there's a briefcase. I had the joke in my head. So the senator that was at the airport that tapped his toe to get attention.
In the bathroom stall.
The bathroom stall, which already is like, I didn't even understand that story. Like, what is going on? Who goes to an airport bathroom and has the code where you tap your toe and you get it?
How long would
and why are you a senator? And why is this happening? And how is this happening?
How long would you have to sit on a toilet at a Minneapolis airport before a like-minded gay gent pulled up in the stall next to you?
I don't know. So the joke was and I did it on the Tonight Show. It was great because they zoomed in. It was great. So I had it in my head. Oh, it's a briefcase, but I'm shooting way far. Like, I'm not going to get this prop made, right? It would be amazing. So it's a briefcase for a senator. That's what I'm thinking. And this leg comes down, and a pant leg, a dress leg, and a dress shoe.
Mm-hmm,
and it taps.
Right.
And it comes back up into the briefcase.
Right. That's a tall order.
Right. And I call a couple of prop builders and they're like, what? And my dad says, what is it again? Same thing. I fax a picture to him, drawing, and here's the arrow of it coming up, down. You make a button that taps and then the other button pulls it back up.
Right.
And he made it. And then I do it on the Tonight Show, and it's so topical because it just happened. So I said, Dad, there's a time limit on this thing. Like, I need it like in an hour, he said,
You're already booked for the Tonight Show at this point?
I was booked, and I knew.
What year was this?
Whatever year.
Whatever
that was,
the story was.
Yeah. It was that week, and my dad, of course, is in Cape Canaveral. I said, I'll just make it, ship it to me, but I'm doing the Tonight Show on Monday, and I just needed that because it was the current joke.
Yeah.
And it just showed up, and I did it, and it was the camera guy. They rehearsed it, and the guy they killed. And of course, the camera guy zoomed in, and you see him go boom, 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 and it was great. And then of course, how do you come out? How do you do this? How do they come in there?
I want to see it.
Do they sell those? I'm like, no, they don't. Yeah.
Well, Jay's a rancher. He should appreciate it.
Oh no, he's a great friend of mine. Jay has been sweeter than any other. He always has been grateful to me, just gracious to me.
Jay's great.
Always, anytime I needed to do the show, I would do it. And he, then a couple times I'd be back after the show, and he says, I said, thanks for always, you give me, like, I was on like every 4 weeks or something, I would have a new set. And he goes, well, you always bring the good. And he goes, every time I get comedians, they come up to me in the airport, and I'm like, why don't you Carrot Top? I said, oh, I'm sorry. He goes, no, I tell him, I tell him? I said, because he always brings the goods. He always writes the jokes. I call you, you show up, you do your thing. That's a horrible Jay Leno.
Yeah, that's right.
But then he falls down, Jay, he falls off a mountain going to a Sizzler or something, whatever the hell it was. He goes on stage with blood all over himself. He just goes on stage and he's like, well, the show must go on. Well, you go home and you go to the hospital. You take a day off. No.
When he burned himself up, he didn't go. He went home.
He went home.
Yeah.
I just saw him in Vegas a month ago, and I came back, and he still has a little bit of the scar from falling down. I said, by the way, how are you? He goes, I'm all right. I said, no, with the when you fell. He goes, I said, well, but I watched all the clips. I said, you had like this huge. He said, yeah. I said, but you went on stage. He goes, yeah. I said, why did you? I wouldn't go. If I broke my finger, I told him I wouldn't go on stage. I said, I got to cancel. I got to fix my nail. He's like, no, you do it. I said, but you have blood on you. Did the crowd not like react? He goes, He just goes up there like, yeah, forget the blood. I just fell down a mountain. Yeah,
he's very stoked.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
He called me 2 weeks ago or something, and he just called like, I think it was a Thursday or Friday. And he just goes, yeah, are you going to be at the Pabst Theater in Milwaukee Sunday night? I go, yeah. He goes, I got some friends who they sold me a Dodge Dart. And anyway, here's the name. Make sure they're on there. I want to make sure they get there. Want to make sure they want to. They're big fans. They want to meet you backstage. They sold me a Dodge Dart.
They got me a Dodge Dart.
Yeah. And he made sure that these people got to go hang out.
Oh, that's great.
Backstage, because that's just who he is.
That's great. Jay's just great.
I agree.
I get to fly in his jet back to. We did the show one night, and I made a joke.
You did a show
on the Tonight Show, and I was going back to Vegas that night to do a show. I had come in, so I went back. The makeup room's right across from my thing. So everyone was leaving, and I said to the makeup lady, she goes, "You going back now?" And I said, "Yeah, I have a show tonight." And she goes, "Well, I have a show tonight." And I said, "Where's your? You just did a show." He goes, "No, in Vegas." Is your show tonight in Vegas? And I said, "Yeah." He says, "You want to just go on the jet?" And I'm like, now, sure. And he's like, "We're going right now. We'll go with that." So I'm like, me and my assistant, I said, "All right." And I gave him like my drink ticket from Southwest. He said, "No, and I like $20 for the gas." He's like, "No, yeah." So we get on the jet, and we're just flying, and he's Jay. He's just his head is so goddamn big. It's great. It's just Jay Leno. He's just one of those people like I've known him for years. But I'm just looking at him, and he's sitting there, and it had my notebook. It said Carrot Top. Like I don't know what it just. So it's so surreal. There's Carrot Top, and there's Jay, and we hit the worst turbulence ever going into Vegas. And he's sleeping, and I'm like holding the thing, and we're just jumping back. And I look at my assistant back, and I'm like, I'm dear God, this is, oh my God. And Jay just on the bounce, he goes, looks over, and I was making a joke. I was going to put it because he was sleeping. I was going to put a peanut like in his mouth. I take a picture of his peanut in his mouth. I wasn't really going to do it, but I was like, let's take a video of it. He wakes up. He says, oh, it's bumpy. I said, yeah, it's a little bumpy. You think all right? I said, no, I really am not. And he goes, well, and it's probably an old line, but it worked on me. He goes, you know what would happen? He said, we'd crash. The newspaper's going to say Jay Leno dies with 2 unknowns. And I said, well, I said, I could have done Letterman. I would have been known. I did pick you over that. Kind of gives one of those. Jay never just gives you a laugh. He just kind of goes,
yeah.
He gives you kind of a knowledge of like, okay, good one.
Yeah, he flew
I said, I was on your show. I'm known. I said, just think if I did Letterman, oh my God, I'd be household known. He just like,
You ever do Letterman?
Yeah.
How many times did you do Letterman?
I did I did a lot of skits with him. A lot of skits where we were like, it was great, and he always was nice to me. Always the same thing. He was strange right? Everyone knows David Letterman, but
see, I learned a lot from Letterman, in that I told everyone you can kind of tell who Ellen was because her staff was scared, and so when people are scared who work for you, it says something about you. And I worked with a guy named Daniel who was worked on the Man Show, and he was kind of one of Letterman's favorite guys during that time, and he came up with all these funny ideas, and they like hung out, and he always used to tell me, Letterman was a great guy, and I think he was in many respects, but at some point I ended up doing Letterman, and Daniel, who was working on the Man Show with me, came with me as a kind of a homecoming return to Letterman. So he'd been with Letterman for 10 years, and then he left and he did Rosie O'Donnell's show. She said she's the worst. Maybe Ellen could give her a run, but anyway, that was a cutie patootie chub club era. That's when people thought Rosie was nice because she was overcompensating. But anyway, then he went to he did Vibe, and then he did the Man Show. And so we came back, and I went out. I was doing panel, but I crushed it. I put together a whole thing, and Dave loved it, and it was I was doing stand-up, but sitting down, but I worked out a whole bit. And the audience loved it, and everything was great, and we got back to my dressing room, and everyone was like, oh, great set, it's great. And then Daniel, who's the most upfront kind of forward guy I've ever met. Like, he's the only guy, when we were doing the Man Show, we'd go to strip clubs, run up a bill for like $2,000, just drinking and hanging out, and then we'd give the bill to the producers.
Nice.
And go, we were doing a recon for Juggies. We're scouting talent. And they'd go, it looked to me like you guys were just drinking. And it's like, well, we're working, so you're paid, right? Daniel's the most ballsy guy in the world, because when we gave this receipt to Stone Stanley for $2,000 for us hanging out at a strip club doing nothing, they said to us, they go, we will pay this time, but we're not going to underwrite you guys hanging out at strip clubs drinking.
Right.
This is not work. And when they told us that, me and Jimmy were like, okay, good, we get our, get the money. But Daniel stood up and he went, fuck that. We're going to their office and we're going to this is bullshit. And I was like, I'm not going to go in there and start yelling at them for not paying for booze at a strip club when all we're doing is hanging around and drinking at a strip club. I'm not getting up. I'm not that bold. And he was outraged. He's like, we're going in there right now. So that's the kind of guy he was. When we finished with Letterman, we're in my dressing room, and some guy, segment producer or something, came back, and the segment producer was like, oh, it was a good killer set, and went great night, blah, blah, blah. And Daniel got sheepish, and he went to the guy. He's like, is Dave up in his office? And the guy's like, yeah, he's up there. You think it'd be cool if I went up and said hi? Or the guy's like, well, I don't know.
Oh, Letterman.
Yeah, Letterman. And at a certain point, I could see him wrestling with it. Like, I don't know what kind of mood's he going to be in or whatever. And at some point, he just went, I don't think I'm going to go. I'm not going up there. Let's just go to dinner. And we did. But I would say to him all the time, stop saying he's a cool guy.
Right.
Because if that's Leno
just walk in there.
or Jimmy Kimmel or anybody, and you were a favorite, you went and you produced a hit TV show, and now you come back, you just walk right up
and say hi.
Say hi.
Yeah.
Anyone I know would do that, but not Letterman.
Well, I would say that's the only thing that I knew about doing the show is that it was very, very scared crew. Eggshells, right?
Yeah.
So I had done it one time, and I was there, and there's that little green room, and then he comes down from the elevator, and they clear that room out so we can go on stage.
Right.
So they're like, oh, we have to get everybody out. Dave's coming down. So I said, oh, okay, and they're like, look paranoid.
Right.
So we move out of this room. He goes by. I'm standing kind of like out of the way. He goes by, and he said, "Thanks for doing this." And I remember he had a ball cap on, it very tan. It's weird. Do you remember? Just so tan, tall, a ball cap, a pencil, and his cigar, and he just said, in his way, like, "Thanks for doing this." And I said, "Are you kidding me?" And I said something like, this is the best thing in my life or something. And he goes out the door to the stage. We all go back in the room. He comes back in. He looks right. He says, "The best day of your life?" All right. And the girl, they freaked out. I've never seen a staff go, "He never does that."
Yeah.
I go, "What? He never speaks to anybody. He must really like you." Like, he would never not only say anything to you, but he wouldn't come back in a second time and address you. So he always was nice to me. He never was.
Yeah, he was nice. He was
probably
nice
liked
to me
me.
too.
He probably, what I mean? I'm just saying that they were scared of him.
Yeah, they were scared of him.
They're not scared of Jay. Hey, Jay, yeah. They could care less. They say right in front of Jay, "It's not your show." I said, "What's this? It's Tonight Show with Jay Leno." "It's not his show. You can't do the joke." And I'm like, "But I."
Yeah, no, they didn't. No fear of Jay.
One clip I got to tell you about the Tonight Show. My favorite clip of.
Wait, I wanted to see the clip of the shoe and the suitcase.
One that would be. I know if it's not on the Tonight Show for sure. I know there was one on. Oh my God, what was the show? I think I did a guest spot as a celebrity guest spot on Last Comic. Me and Louis Anderson came out and did like
Louis.
We did like I can't. So we did this guest thing where we came out and did like we were the pros, and then they had great comics. Kathleen Madigan's these great comics. And that, I remember doing it, and I remember the camera zoomed in on it really nicely on that one too. So that one and the Tonight Show one. This is my favorite Tonight Show.
What would you Google in to find this?
Oh God, hilarious! Carrot Top, Last Comic Standing, because I was only on it.
Briefcase
Senator briefcase foot prop.
Okay.
I mean, it might come up.
Was Mel Gibson the other guest
On the Tonight Show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was?
Yeah.
All right, then it must
be on that one.
Probably found that episode. Yeah. Yeah, that was. I still never got to the bottom of it. The guy's in a Minneapolis airport bathroom.
No one ever got to the bottom. I mean, the guy got to the bottom of them. But yeah, I just thought this is a prop. I got to do it. Yeah, Mel Gibson was, because he had a kiln, and I came out with a kiln. You found it? All right, let's see if we can find it.
All right, let's see if we can see how the camera works on the. What year would you estimate this to be?
Yeah. 2005? 2005?
2005. Is that late? I don't know. 95?
95, yeah.
Off by full
I'm old.
decade.
I'm old as dirt. Shit, could be 90. I'm a Jack Parr.
All right, let's see if we can find this.
The other one, while we look for it, I'll tell you was.
And your dad built this.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And he overnighted it to you.
Yeah.
Strapped it to a 747 and slided it right into the studio. Jesus Christ. Listen, let me say something about parents and dads and stuff. I want to say. I get a lot of people going, I didn't get anything. My dad's always at work or something. It's tough on me or whatever, something. And then they start telling stories, and it doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah,
it sounds
right.
pretty,
No, I know.
It sounds pretty good.
Right, it wasn't. I mean, Dad was a hard ass, but it worked out. I mean, I worked my brother. We both worked out pretty okay. I think the discipline is actually very important. And that's why I think we did.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, if I did home school and I didn't, was home by street lights out, I was getting my ass whooped.
No. It's there's a reason for it. It's good. All right. Sorry. The clip. Here it is.
See if they got it.
Simply Safe. Wow. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's what my grandpa used to say. That's how Simply Safe thinks. I use Simply Safe because it actually stops crime before it starts. Imagine that. A little prevention. Their Active Guard outdoor protection has these AI cameras and real people watching your place. So if some creep is lurking around, the agents can talk to them, flip on the spotlight, even call the cops right then, not after your stuff is gone. No contracts, no hidden fees. None of that nonsense. Over 4 million people trust Simply Safe. 2 eyes in there. So it's not just me. It's other smart people as well. Plans start at about $1 a day. You get a 60-day trial. You can try it out for 60 days. Money back if you don't love it, but you're going to like it. It's Simply Safe, right, Dawson?
Head to simplysafe.com/Adam to claim your discount and make sure your home is safe this season. Don't wait. This offer won't last long. Keep your home, your family, and your peace of mind protected with Simply Safe. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
My next guest, an inventive comedian who's taken America by storm. He can be seen at the Taft Theater in Cincinnati, Ohio on June 2nd. Please give a warm welcome to Carrot Top.
Oh, God, I'm probably 12 in this. Hi, everybody. Oh, I had a kilt. See, he had a kilt on. He had a kilt on, and I came out in a kilt, but then I made it a prop. Look. Wait, I make it a prop. See that?
How did you do the kilt that fast?
Well, watch. I had a watch. I made it backstage. I said, night kilt, and then I made him into pants.
As you can see, not all men look good in dresses, as you can see.
Because he had this big hairy legs.
Wow. I come from North Carolina, though. If I was caught wearing a dress, I'd be killed. So I made this. It's an invention. You just pull these things down like that.
My voice, I'm talking like, hey.
That's funny.
I made it right for the show, yeah.
All right. I got tons of stuff.
I hope they have the briefcase.
This is so dogs won't sniff your... Well, anyway, I didn't think you had the point there.
I don't even know what that is.
Boy. Get down.
That's
all right, one time.
Spaghetti colander on a belt.
Yeah, but I don't know what the hell the joke was.
Dog's not sniffing your junk.
But anyway,
and that's one for me. Okay, because I have a small dick. See, yeah, okay. I hope the briefcase one comes because it's.
Here's a baseball bat for replacement players, so they'll get a hit. Come on now, hit the ball.
Oh, I had a better one though because it used to have a clacker on it.
Oh, replacement.
I
It
got
must have
another
been a
one too. I
strike
just made
thing.
this one. This is for really bad baseball players. This way they sound like they get a hit at least.
And see, the drummer shouldn't have hit the fucking cymbal when I did it.
You are 100% right.
Where'd he go?
Because it's
The punchline was the crack.
That way you never strike out. You always get a foul tip. I hit it. I hit part of it. I hit part of it. I hit part of it.
I was 9.
And of course, baseball is back, but attendance is way down. So I made this for fans to wear at the park. This way there's more people in the audience.
All right, you can fast forward.
Yeah, see if we can find. Yeah, see if we can find.
I don't mind watching this, but I do want to see
your
the
audience is
briefcase.
probably yeah.
Yeah, it's a visual.
No, the briefcase is hopefully it's.
Well, you guys have to look for the. You look for the briefcase, and you.
And while you, I tell you that my favorite Tonight Show one. So they have the.
How many times you do the Tonight Show?
I don't know, like 30 something.
Wow.
Standards and practices, lady. She loved me and hated me. Same woman, been there for 1,000 years. I show up and I would do my rehearsal, and she's like, "Oh, you can't, no."
Yeah.
So I have this Bill Clinton podium. It's like my closing bit.
Right.
It's a podium that's got a buzzer on the. It's got true false, and I'd have buttons. You go. I did not have. I did bing ding. Right. So. It's funny enough. It's good. But then I thought I need the big punchline. So up from behind comes Monica Lewinsky.
Head.
Behind the thing. So that big ending is I did not have, and then his head. It's a beret. The whole beret.
Right.
And the vision. I said, not now.
Right.
And I close it at the end, and it destroys.
You're right.
Rehearsal, they're going nuts. And Jay's like, he's sitting over there. Honey. And then she comes over. And she's like, everything. I said, everything's good. I've never had him say everything's good, all good. She said, only one thing. I just think are you going to podium? She's yep. She's just you just can't force her head down. I said, What do you mean? She's like, you can't put your hand on top to push it down.
It can come up.
It can come up,
but you can't push it down. Right.
So I say to the prop guys, can you rig something? I had a foot pedal. Can you rig it where it goes up and then it goes down? And they're it's an hour for the show. They're like, no. And I'm up there. It's live, and I do it. It's the last joke, and the fucking head comes up. And I use my elbow because they said I can't use my hand. And I got so much trouble. I mean, trouble in a sense. I mean, kill. But then they said we had to bleep it out on the West Coast. I'm like, what? Because you can't. So people on the East Coast saw me force her head. I didn't force it down. Just went like, not now. Not now.
Right.
But she said you can't use your hand. So I'm thinking, all right, I'll use my elbow.
Yeah, it's a weird technical stuff.
Yeah.
Always nuts with the censorship. It's so funny. I turn on Fox or CNN, watch the news, and people are just cussing away.
Oh yeah, no.
They were always insane about that.
And, and innuendo even, yeah. And you watch the time, you're like, the whole bit was a BJ joke, and then I can't say, you know what I mean? It was like the whole bit would be, and mine was just silly. They're like, the whole monologue was about a blowjob. How come I can't say?
Yeah, it's almost like they needed to intervene at some point.
Right.
When Jimmy and I did Crank Yankers, the puppet show, it was called Prank Puppets. And at some point we got on the phone with the standards and the legal team at Comedy Central, and they're like, we can't use Prank Puppet. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, it implies some malice, like we could get sued or something. And I was like, first off, when you do a show, you give it a name so you know what it is.
Sure.
Right? And we just been calling it prank. We got to do, so-and-so is going to work on Prank Puppets, and we get this guy writing on it, whatever. We call it Prank Puppets for a long time. And then at the end, we're getting ready to launch, and they're like, can't call it Prank Puppets.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't get, what do you mean Prank Puppet? Why can't you can't do it? And they're like legal team shit. And me and Jimmy are on the phone with these guys, and we were in New York, and I think I was in his hotel room, and I was going nuts. I was going insane. I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, if we ever get sued and they bring up the name, it's going to a lot of liability for us. I was like, you better hope they bring up prank and puppet, and that says no damages. It's got the word prank and puppet in it, and it was weird, but I realized sometimes I think they just feel like they got to flex a little bit.
Right.
Like, I can't sit here and do nothing show after show. At some point, I have to intervene or object or something, because otherwise, what am I doing here?
Right.
But yeah, it's funny the nuance of it all. None of it makes sense. None of it lives anywhere. We used to get in arguments with Comedy Central on underwear versus underpants and stuff like that. Like, I don't even know what we said to them once, how much ass crack can we show? And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, well, you watch SNL in the 70s and Dan Aykroyd's playing the Norgeman, repairman, or whatever. They're showing ass crack. So they're showing like 1.5 inches of ass crack. But at some point, it becomes 8 inches ass crack, and that's a bare ass.
Right.
And they go, we'll get back to you. And they go, 3/4 ass crack. You can show 3/4 ass crack. So immediately, Daniel, the guy who didn't want to talk to Letterman, so he goes, we need 3/4 ass crack shorts for all the jockeys.
No, you're right. They have to come in somehow. We did AT&T commercials forever, and one of the number one rated ones that I had was, I would say, call down the center with 1-800, whatever, CALAT. It's free for you and cheap for them, which is, And I took the phone. I was free for you and cheap for them, and I hit the payphone with it. Mm-hmm. I say, free for you and cheap for them. It's that easy. And instead of hanging the phone up, I just banged the thing, and I guess kids just thought that was great. Mm-hmm. And AT&T lost their minds. They said, you can't. We had to pull the thing and not run it because you were defacing the property, our product.
Right, right.
I'm like, but the kids laugh. It's like the gene one. I mean, what is it with the genes and the chick and the jeans? What is the problem here? I don't understand the whole problem.
Yeah,
I don't understand the
Eventually, it all goes away.
Oh, of course it does.
And then nobody cares.
But then again, it's like, is it just because people just have nothing else to they have to have something now. They need a new topic. So, oh my God, now we're going to go up in arms and we're going to start defacing gene ads.
Oh,
People burning down the gene ads, throwing shit at the gene ad in New York. It's like it's a goddamn gene ad. Like nothing's different than what we've always said. It's a dumb ad.
Everything
eyes up here.
Yeah, everything
right? Or something. I don't know.
Everything is symbolic. We're still looking for the shoe piece.
Oh yeah, it's got dang it.
Well, maybe was it last?
It was Last Comic Standing. If it's not on that Jay Leno one.
Well, so here's the thing: we live in a society that doesn't really have problems in the sense that poor people have cell phones and big screen TVs and can eat sushi. You know what I mean? Like poor people used to traditionally not be able to participate in lots of things. But if you have a cell phone, you're pretty much richer than anybody who was around 50 years ago. I mean, in terms of your life, like it's a device that's insane. And you know, the chasm, I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing. Like when we were young, there was rich people and there were poor people, and we were like poor people, so we didn't have air conditioning.
Right.
But rich people had air conditioning, and we didn't have cars that ran well, but they had cars that ran well, and they had lots of stuff. Now you're poor. I mean, poor. You work. You know what I mean? But you still go out and eat. You still have a TV with all the streaming services, and you got your smartphone, and you got your you driving a. Leonardo DiCaprio drives a Toyota Prius, like why not? Who cares? Air conditioning, satellite radio. But we had like problems back then. Now we don't really have problems. And when you take away the problems, people start fixating on stuff. Like, if your problem is like malaria and clean water and shelter, then you don't care what Sweeney's up to,
right.
And you don't really care about gene ads because you got kind of bigger fish to fry,
right. Yeah.
But we've eliminated a lot of that stuff, and also there's a lot of people that are just sort of weirdly activated, like they're just walking around with their head on a swivel, looking
for something,
for something,
to bitch about,
and
something.
I'm like, why are you reading everything into nothing?
Right.
Why? All right, it's a gene ad. Buy the jeans or don't buy the jeans.
Because it comes like, right, exactly. It also becomes a big social media sensation, and then everyone jumps on it. So because most people, if you ask them, like, what happened to jean? What are you talking about? Like,
well, also, you don't need to have a real strong opinion on everything.
See, I have skinny jeans for fat guys. That's a great prop.
Right.
It's a big pair of jeans, and it's got little skinny jeans that are sewn in the middle. So it looks when you wear them, it looks like you have.
Right.
That's a great prop.
So you sit around, you think of these things,
yeah.
And you go to your workshop.
Yeah.
And now that your dad's passed,
yeah.
You got to farm some of it out. Yeah. Some of the mechanical stuff.
Yeah. I have a prop guy in town that does pretty amazing stuff in Vegas. I can go to him and he'll I'll get it to you.
Does he bid it, or does he just go, this is time and materials?
Yeah. No, for that.
How do you bid, something like a foot coming out of it?
I paid for some things, prop things in the past, but like a lot for a big intense prop. This guy he'll just for a beer he'll do it. He'll say, he works on my crew. He's like, give me an hour, I'll make it. And he comes up with it. He goes and finds the motors and finds, like I said, it's always engineering ones. Otherwise, I can build it myself. I usually make them all myself.
Yeah.
But if I can't get it, if it's really like that, you'll see that if we ever find the shoe and it's intense.
Well, NBC, The Last Comic Standing, is scrubbed.
Oh, it's not there?
It's not on the internet. Some companies don't put their stuff on the internet.
One time I did anything I'm trying to find. I was on Regis and Kathleen with Trump. And it's just a great clip because I come out.
What year? Approximately.
Again, that's going back. Well, here's the weird thing. You can find it'll say Carrot Top Donald Trump, Angela Featherstone or Silverstone, the actress. Mm-hmm. But there's no clip.
Oh,
so they have the thing. So I called ABC and I said, I've been doing that show, Kelly, whatever, Regis, and whatever now it's called, thousands of shows.
Alicia Silverstone,
and so it says Alicia Silverstone, Carrot Top, Donald Trump. I mean, it's like in the
right.
So I said, can I just get the clip? And they said, what do you want? I said, I just want to show it in my show because it's kind of cool. I walk out and Donald Trump says to me, shakes my hand. And I said, it's great. I said to him, it's great to be in a show where I don't have the dumbest hair. And he just thought that was the crazy. And he went, what? And everyone laughed. And he made me like touch his hair. Like he kept, I said, no, I'm good. No, touch it. And he took my hand and he made me make like this. And I said, okay, now tell everybody. And I said, tell him what? He said, tell him it's real. I said, I didn't say it was not real. I said it was dumb hair.
Right.
And it would just be such a great clip, but the ABC won't give it. And they said, we can't give it to you because, like you just said, if you ever air it, we're putting you in prison, that kind of thing. I'm like, oh, for God's sakes. I just want it for my archives.
Right.
And they said, okay, but you can't ever air it then. I'm like, I can show it my show. No.
Really?
Like, well, so at one point I'm like, all right, I'm just not going to show it, and I'm going to show it.
Yeah. Well, again, it's just
take me to jail. I'm not good in jail, probably. By the way,
it's just rules, but they don't really.
I'm not cute to you, but in prison I might be. Yeah.
Oh, I'd say you're prison 8.5 for sure.
I'd be carrot bottom. Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you, you'd make a good prisoner because you're crafty.
Yeah.
And I'd be like,
I built something to get us out of here, you guys. I got this.
I'd be like, cook up some Pruno in the toilet, would you? I want to catch a buzz. And yeah, let's break out of this place. All right, let's see. Legacy media is dying. Yeah, someone wrote that on there. But yeah, this is why it drives me nuts because I've tried to look for stuff and it gets scrubbed and they act like something's going to happen if you air it in your show, but nothing will ever happen. Well, what'll happen is people will laugh and enjoy it.
You guys can find, if you want just something, they can't find the leg one. The Gallagher probably will come up, Carrot Top Gallagher, where he comes on stage and pushes me.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense.
Somehow we got hold of Gallagher late in his life, and he was building some sort of trapeze on his property where he like bungeed himself like back and forth, and he just kind of lost it.
Yeah,
I guess. And at the end, he seemed like he got angry, and it just it's also weird and sad. You know what I mean? That you have to be. I was just watching this Beach Boys doc I was telling you about. Like somehow, Brian Wilson's dad sold all the publishing rights to all the songs and never informed anyone and sold it for $700,000, probably worth $100 million. And this guy wasn't talking to that guy, and then that guy sued this guy. And it's always like, why? Why does it have to end this way?
Yeah.
Why is it always this? Can't you just be the Beach Boys?
I want to sell my catalog, all my props. That'd be a great bit.
Oh, my God.
That'd be a great bit, Carrot Top's, it'd be something silly, like it's like all literally $19.95. Just for all of it. I mean,
the suitcase with the foot in it, just for the parts alone, is worth several $1,000s. I parted out, but yeah.
That was like Louis Anderson's bit when he says about going to the yard sale with his mom. One of my favorite bits he would do, and I'm going to mess it up. He said, we're at the yard sale, and my mom says, how much for the toaster? And they said, it's $5. And he says, $5, you should get it. And his mom's like, that's too much. And he goes, the cord alone is worth $5.
Right. We have Gallagher on stage with you.
Here we go.
Now, when was this?
Oh, God. I wish I knew. I'm horrible at years, as you know. I think it's 2025 now, right?
Yep.
So this would be probably 10 years ago?
All right.
Maybe. So I come out. I had just done my finale. I don't know why I had my shirt is off because I did something. And here comes Gallagher. And he pushes and shows me on the ground all the way down the thing. He comes out, grabs a watermelon, And then he comes and then he yells at me and says it was horrible. This is the stupidest thing that I've ever done. And the crowd, you can hear the crowd, they're going crazy. It's Gallagher. And then he yells at me afterwards. He physically threw me to the ground. And for me, as being one of my favorite comedians in the world, he came to the show, like I told you, 5 days in a row, and he wore that same shirt.
Yeah.
And he had not only holes in it, there was like food on it. He was a wreck.
He was in decline.
And I said, hey, and I could never say this in a mean, I'd say, hey, if I got you I didn't want to say, you've been in the same shirt 5 days. I said, if I got you a Carrot Top, no, I said, nice shirt. And he goes, well, if I had a Carrot Top shirt, I said, if you had one, you'd wear one? He goes, yeah. And so the guy's got a Carrot, and that was my favorite part of the whole watching that clip was, Gallagher, who when I was 11, 12 years old, was trying to admire and write jokes, was wearing my logo. I'm like, this is cool, him wearing my shirt. It was just, I can't believe Gallagher.
What year did Gallagher die? And
boy, not that 3 years ago.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You'd say 3 years, but it's probably 9 years ago or something like that.
No, it's probably.
Well, you would know.
I think it's 3 because I did a tribute to him.
Oh, you did a tribute to him, so you would know.
I have it in my show. I do a whole story about meeting him and going to the show, and it's a crazy bit. And I made this prop that it's a watermelon explosion thing, and it took a year to make it.
A year?
Yeah.
You're right, 3 years ago. You're right.
And the night that I did it, he died.
Oh, really?
I did it that night, and it just killed. It was like this huge finale thing. I came out, and the strobes are going crazy, and there's a watermelon, but it's a machine. It's like it weighs like 8,000 pounds, and the hammer itself weighs about 90 pounds because you have to hit this thing for it to go off and explode.
Right.
It just shoots all this shit into the crowd. Oh, I do it, and I'm like, I waited a year, almost 3 years actually. I thought I wrote it during COVID, so 5 years ago. So I finally do it. Boom! It's this amazing ending, and we're all backstage going, "Holy moly! This is a great ending to the show." Now I woke up the next morning and my phone was blowing up. Gallagher died. And I remember thinking, "You got to be kidding me!" Because I was just going to invite him out to see it.
Really?
And I make jokes that night. I said, he's either going to love it or he's going to sue me. Right. Because that was him.
Right.
He'd go, I don't get it. And I'd say, it's an homage to you. He would say, I don't get the stupid, why are you hitting a water? Because I tell the whole story about you and then the thing. And then he just wouldn't have gotten it. He probably would have been really angry with me.
Jimmy Kimmel and I wrote a full-length feature screenplay called Kill Gallagher.
Oh, how great.
Yeah.
I love it already. Kill Gallagher.
It was a crazy story. I've said it a few times. I won't bore everybody. But it was basically some impoverished tribe that was in some sun-blasted part of Africa. And it started with all the dead crops and everything. It hadn't rained in a year, and everyone's impoverished and everyone's emaciated and whatever. And it actually began because there was a band called Dishwalla.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they came in to Loveline once, and Drew said, where'd you get the name Dishwalla? And they said, well, that's what they call the guys who set up the satellite dish in these faraway, impoverished places. So one guy's a satellite. And all of a sudden, they're in this no man's land. All of a sudden, they're watching Dynasty and Falcon Crest and stuff. And it's just got to be weird. And Drew said, imagine watching a Gallagher concert.
Yeah.
And it's all these people emaciated, no food,
and
everything's crap, and he's holding up. And so the whole thing was like, he'd hold a giant watermelon up, and the whole village would be staring at the TV. He's going, oh, yes. And he'd put it down and like, what? And then he'd mash it. Yeah. And at some point, they were all outraged.
Right.
And they were like, this is insane. And they really thought he was like a produce smashing god. And he was the reason they had drought, no rain, and whatever. Like, if they could get rid of.
You can still make that.
And they took the fucked up, the one fuck up brave, the screwed up guy, and they're like, give him all our belongings, go find him in Las Vegas, and go kill Gallagher.
I like it. That's a good movie.
Simultaneously,
have you?
There was another kid in Michigan who was like a teenage virgin. It was like a 17, 18-year-old virgin. He had his jack-off buddy with him, and they were watching the Gallagher concert at the same time. And the guy kept saying, the older cool guy, it's like, we got to get you laid. And he's like, I'm in this little town in Michigan. Everyone knows me. It's not going to work. No one likes me. And they're like, if you could get to Vegas, they got call girls there. They have bunny ranch. It's like, if you get us to Vegas, and they're like, we don't have any money. We don't have anything. And it's like, then a Make-A-Wish Foundation commercial comes on. And I go, what if we said you were sick and you wanted to see Gallagher? Like, it's your dying request. So now the Make-A-Wish guy's showing up to see Gallagher at the Gallagher concert, along with the Warrior guy who's going to try to kill him at the same time. And, hilarity ensues. Yeah. But was called Kill Gallagher.
That's a good movie.
I would watch that movie.
Yeah. Did you ever see Dave Chappelle, Black Gallagher?
No, I never saw.
You can find that you'll lose your mind. Yeah,
Black Gallagher.
Well,
look at the watermelon.
Dave Chappelle. Right? It's just he's Black Gallagher. He's got the mountain, but it's Dave Chappelle, and he's just like, it's brilliant. Yeah, Black Gallagher. Yeah,
Gallagher.
Dave Chappelle, Black Gallagher.
See, that exists somewhere.
Oh, it does.
All right. Well, let me make sure you got your plugs going over here.
He's getting
all right, he'll find that. You can go on Instagram and YouTube, by the way, at Carrot Top Live. Oh, I've never seen Black Gallagher.
You're going to like this.
All right, here it is.
Where are the weapons of mass destruction? That's what I'm talking about. Osama bin Laden. Why don't they call him Osama bin Laden?
Come on, look, he's got Gallagher.
That's so crazy.
Like my outfit, the queer guys came by and had an eye for me. Pink hearts, yellow moons, green clovers, orange stars. That leprechaun's on acid.
His teeth and his mannerisms. That's how Gallagher would do his walk.
He's crazy.
God, that's so funny.
He's crazy like me. Are you ready to smash some fruit? Can't hear you. Yeah? You want to smash some fruit? Yeah! But Black Gallagher doesn't go out like no punk bitch with a mallet.
You go, Jesus.
Wow, he's shooting it. All right, that's funny.
Black Gallagher doesn't get it.
Black Gallagher's like the funniest. All right, this is why we love Chappelle. That's totally insane. Also, it's the kind of thing you'd pitch, and the executives at Comedy Central go, I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. And then two guys would be in the room laughing their nutsack off. Celebrating 20 years at the Luxor this November. 40 years in show business. And now the world has come around, and they're in love with Carrot. They've come around, and they're in love with Carrot Top. But don't stick around too long, because they'll turn.
It's coming. There's another wave. Again. There's another wave. Yeah, you get the little happy wave. We love you, and then no. When are you going away?
No, I'll never say that. The great Scott Thompson, everybody. You can go down to Carolla.com for all my live shows everywhere, and I'll come see you next time in Vegas. Hopefully,
right on. Yeah,
I'd love to do that.
I've seen you in Vegas too.
So, till next time, Adam, for Scott, saying. Mahalo. Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. Just gonna get it on. Doctor's board certified didn't specialist.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got thoughts.
All right.
I was just thinking about this when I was driving in, because I was kind of thinking about like progressive and California and just sort of where we're at, and this thing that's like having issues with sort of safety versus what they'll let people do. And what I'm saying is so here's what I was thinking about. I was listening.
Safety Uber Alice stuff.
Well, it's more. You want to know what it is?
Yeah.
I told you. Well, I told you this a million times.
Yeah.
When my twins were toddlers and 2 years old, 3 years old, and started running around. If I went to fill their bottle up from the sink spigot, my wife would have grabbed the bottle and thrown it across the room, slapped it out of my hand.
Right.
because she didn't want them to ingest municipal water. But the gate along the side of the courtyard where the kids played that went to the deep end of the pool, by the way, you open the gate, it's 4 feet, you're in the deep end, was constantly open while the kids were unsupervised in the courtyard, and I would go nuts. I would go, first off, this is the way you die. This is the only, it's because they're
water.
They're white, they're rich, they're fine. You know what I mean? Like, statistically, that pool's the only thing they got to deal with in their life. And that fucking gate is open all the time. And the answer was always the gardener left it open.
So this inability to judge what's important. What's actually...
It's a prioritized, yes.
What's actually
all in on tap water.
Well, climate is all about this stuff, too.
Right, but I'm saying it's all in on tap water, which has zero effect. Bottled water arguably could be worse with the plastic or whatever, but fine. Zero to the immediate threat of the pool, which literally could kill them any day of the week in less than 2 minutes. And they're constantly bopping around this courtyard while Lynette and or the Olga would be in the kitchen, doing something. They'd be out there. They keep.
Surprised Olga left that open.
They keep an eye on them.
That's weird.
The gate was out of sight. The gardener would constantly go through it to get to the other side, and then would never shut it and latch it. But it was out of sight, and I would stumble on this gate open all the time, and I'd go, when was the gardener? He was here 4 days ago. I was like, this gate's been open for 4 days. I shut it. You know what I mean? And they'd go, the gardener left it. And I'd go, okay, then you have to talk to the gardener. But you know what you have to do? When the gardener leaves, you got to go check the gate.
Right.
But much more concerned about tap water. Now one is nothing, and the other will kill you as fast as a pistol. So where are we at? Now, in her mind, logical. Well, I don't know if it was logical, but it was just it's how she thought.
So the water in the bottle, in the tap, is hysteria.
Right.
And the gate is laziness? I mean, those are the features of those two phenomenon, right? I don't want to have to do the gate. That's not romantic enough to have to close the gate.
Most women would let their kid play at a home that had a pool if they were young. But many might say, not if there's a gun there. And then they'd go, well, the gun's in a gun safe, and it's hidden or whatever. They go, I don't care. Right. So what did we talk about? Well, the pool's going to kill them. But the gun seems like something. Right. I think
so what was happening this morning that got you onto this? What did you
got
say?
me onto it, I was thinking about kids, especially affluent, especially like Southern California, LA, kids will grow up with bathed in Purell. Everything's going to be antibacterial. You're going to get 71 vaccines. You're going to have a helmet on every step of the way every time you get on a bicycle or skateboard. So helmet. But at some point, if you turn 14 and you decide you're living in the wrong body, these people will cut your dick off and give you puberty blocking hormone experiment. Or tits off, a dick off, and they'll give you experimental drugs to block your puberty. The same people that slathered Purell all over you and wouldn't let you go without a helmet, well, the following week, fill you full of this hormones and cut your junk off.
It's weird.
Not protective. In a weird way. Cut your dick off is kind of the ultimate. You know what I mean? If you think about it.
No,
the parents
these
care
are
of their
dangerous operations. Let's be clear. And we don't know the full effect of these hormones downstream. They're not going to be, it's not a benign thing. It's a serious medication. Even if you're just taking estrogen.
Lee, I was going to ask you, the hormone blockers, is that to become a male, or is it a two-way street?
It's to prevent you from having your secondary sexual characteristics from kicking in.
Right, but who would be more apt to take that? Or is it even Steven?
In my experience, it's interesting. I've seen it in... You got to get the language right. I love this part of life. I love that, and also that I have to learn how to pronounce Boko Haram and stuff like that. I have to memorize 28 terrorist organizations, 15 things on a menu at the pita place, and now
I have to read these stupid articles. She went into the bathroom and then she pulled out her penis and she raped a 9-year-old. And it's like, what? Hold on. What's going on?
Right.
Like I can't.
I know. Listen. When I used to take care of a lot of these folks at the psych hospital, and when they would, a lot of them at that time were becoming women to have lesbian relationships, and I'd be like, wait, I have to diagram it out. Like, wait,
Right.
you'll be a female.
All right, so look it up, Andrew.
All right, so
hormone blockers. Now, look,
it's mostly male to female.
Mostly male to female.
That's what I've seen. Mostly.
Oh, I thought it was mostly female to male.
Because you want to stop the androgenization. Children are already sort of feminized a little bit.
Yeah.
It's the androgens that really change.
You want to block.
You want to block all that. But I don't know. I'm sure they do it with females too.
Wait a minute. You're saying if you're a male and you want to become a female, there's more of it.
Right, because you want to shut down that androgen production.
Sorry, I agree with that. That makes more sense to me. For male to female, so what's it? I can't read this.
You have to shut down testosterone, including you want to prevent secondary sexual characteristics. Then estrogen therapy kicks in, so it works better. And they look great. I mean, they really. But the ones where it's done properly for the right reasons, they're very happy with it. So it's not like it never should be done. I think that's a mistake. But it's got to be carefully.
But the problem is it's got to be done at 13.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is so Andrew, male to female are getting hormone blockers.
Well, let's see if the female to male are also
But I want to know about the female to male side and see how that works.
All right. The hormone blocker is, they do it there too.
So they're both taking it equally.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
anyway. I don't know about equally. I've only seen it the male to female, but it's. You're pointing at 13. Jim Norton's wife is transgender, and she tells this very vivid story about at 13 when the hormones started kicking in, she really had this incredible emotional reaction and was properly evaluated, looked at by a psychiatrist for many months, and they turned to her and said, you have gender dysphoria and you're going to need to take this medicine for the rest of your life. And she looks at it as dangerous medicine, a medical condition that has medical management, and it worked for her. Mm-hmm. Worked perfectly. She didn't want the operation. She just didn't want the androgen experience, and the estrogens themselves took care of it. Mm-hmm. And good. She's living a full life now. Right. But that happened at 13.
Yeah. And she was in Sweden or somewhere. Right?
Norway.
All right. So women are going insane. We always got that as a theme. They're yelling at ICE to shoot them. But I saw a very good tape of one spat on an ICE guy, and then she got tackled, and she wanted to know what was going on. Right. That's what I'm trying to get across, everyone, is spitting is spitting, punching is punching, it's all that. I would never spit in the face of a cop and then have the cop tackle me and then yell what's going on. Right. I might yell, fuck you, pig. Yeah. But I wouldn't yell what's happening.
No, you would know exactly what's happening.
I would know exactly what's happening.
If you were 9 and spit in one of your friends' faces and they tackled you, you wouldn't say what's going on.
Right.
You'd be wrestling.
They're all like paunchy, dumpy chicks, and they get manhandled, like pushed against vans and stuff. And they're like, oh, it's happening. It's like, what's happening? You just spit in this guy's face.
So, and let's be, again, back to rough and tumble play for mammals, where these dudes are 20-something-year-olds who are nervous and uptight with firearms and a 5,000-pound vehicle.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't fuck with that, would you? I learned that when I was 7.
Look. Oh no. Listen.
You had Ray and Chris beating your ass.
I had beat up every day for stuff I did, or most often stuff I didn't do. But the point is
thank you, Chris.
They look. I always tell everyone, do not look at cops as cops. Look at them as dudes with guns.
Yeah,
and you
nervous
don't have
dudes.
a gun. Young, nervous dudes with a gun. So probably stop arguing with them so much.
Yeah,
or threatening them, or driving a car.
Or maybe it's a female cop. Same. They may be more nervous.
Look
right?
at a person with a gun.
Yeah,
and you should just do what they tell you to do because they have a gun. But look, if someone had a gun at a bar and just told me to go in the bathroom and change your paper towels out, I'd go.
Done.
Okay.
Done and done.
Done and done.
Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't go, fuck you, pup. You don't owe me. By the way, listen. You're insulting people that have guns.
Yeah.
There's the possibility. And everyone goes, what about their training? I don't know. What about it? They have a gun. You're calling them names. You spit on them.
Well, then you get tackled.
You can get shot.
That's part of the training. You get tackled for sure. But the whole notion of rough and tumble play, we raise men with the same phenomenon that occurs to all mammals, which is rough and tumble play, which allows them to regulate and test boundaries and understand what happens and what it feels like to get punched in the face. All males, all mammals. And women, we are told, you can't be touched by a male.
Right.
A male cannot touch you.
Right.
And that's where we really kind of go off the rail, I'm afraid.
Yeah. I've said it. I did a long safety vid on this on my podcast, and I basically just said, look, as too many. I said, women, if you punch a black man in the face, there's a good chance you're getting punched and knocked out. So maybe don't do it.
Yeah.
Because, and then my female guest had to pretend like she didn't know what I was talking about. So then I do what I do to everybody. You know what I do to everyone?
What?
I fucking corner them like an animal.
Okay, what'd you do?
I go, I say, I think there's a higher likelihood if you punch a black guy, you'll get punched. Oh, why? Than a white guy? I don't know. I go, you don't think there's any difference? No. I said, okay, let's put it to you this way. You have a daughter, and your daughter has to punch 10 random guys. Would you like 10 white guys? 10 Asian men? 10 Jewish men? Or 10 black men? Wouldn't make a difference. I go, oh, really? You just have your daughter. You would just
random.
Say, just go punch 10 random black guys or 10 random Jews. See what happens. You wouldn't have any thoughts. If you got a vote, you wouldn't be able to pick Japanese, let's say. I'm not saying they're not getting punched. I want to know how many times she's getting punched. I don't know. See, what I do is I back people in the corners, and then I make them look fucking foolish for their stupid opinions.
Hey, speaking of foolish, your buddy Newsom has his stuff starting to leak out now.
Oh, yeah.
Screwing his best friend's wife, raping some employee he had. There's so much more.
There's a rape allegation?
Yep.
I did not.
I don't know that it's legitimate, but there's an allegation out there. Mm-hmm. But there's stuff flying around now. It's going to come out. It has to, because there was so much of it.
Yes.
I kept saying, why isn't this?
I don't mind any of that. I mind the part where he's economically destroying this vibrant state.
Well, but the only thing people seem to respond to with him, he's such a good guy. He cares so much. Really? Yeah.
Oh no, he should be studied because, and the reason I say that's not a put down to him. Yeah. I say to. Like I said, I said to Dave Rubin, I just go, I have such a visceral reaction to that guy because I know he's so bad and you should just cringe when you think of his name. Yeah. And so many people love him. And I was like, how do you account for that? Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you, why do I know what I know and feel the way? It's not explainable. But, I mean, you'd be the same way with Trump.
Trudeau's too.
Right. But what is that thing?
I was confused
I'm getting back to more chick thing. But you know what I wanted to say to you? There are large numbers of younger men who are also at these protests spitting on cops as well. And you say males grow up with rough and tumble, not males under 40. Those pussies weren't allowed to do any of this stuff.
Oh.
So they're wired like chicks. And that's why those fucking dudes, the 27-year-olds, are, come on, bro. You know, and they just get shot in the face with a beanbag or something. You know what I mean? They're not males growing up. We outlawed rough and tumble play. We saw the Gillette commercial where they were calling rough and tumble play toxic masculinity. That commercial's 10 years old. Remember, we got rid of it.
Yeah.
We got rid of tackle football. We wouldn't let boys wrestle or roughhouse or put their hands on one another anymore.
How do you prevent that?
Well, there is a generation, is what I'm saying. It's all women. It's
certainly dampened down.
It's all women and many men under 30 or 40. Well, the ones at the protest weren't the captains of the football team, and they weren't in the military.
Yeah.
So now you have a whole group of mammals that did not participate in rough and tumble play, and that's why the dudes are
getting into
understanding what they should in terms of
it's true. I see an awful lot of videos of guys walking up to other dudes, with their chest out, just getting smashed in the face. Not by cops, just by other guys.
Listen, let me be super clear here, Drew.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and then I will explain this to you. Okay.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. The new year, how about a new you, or how about a new version of you? Everyone needs a little assistance going out on their own, and I've always needed mental health services. Our family uses them. BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched with a therapist who fits with what you are actually wanting. Every therapist is fully licensed. They start off with a questionnaire, so you're paired with the right person, not just whoever happens to be available. And they have such a great track record with 4.9 out of 5-star rating for live sessions based on over 1.7 million client reviews, which tells you people are actually getting something out of it. No longer is stigma a consideration. It's all online. They can, you don't have to drive to the therapist's office, not all that extra time involved. It's just a session from your computer, all online, great therapy without any of the nonsense. Right, Daphne?
BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a qualified therapist. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/AdamandDrew. That's betterhelp.com/AdamandDrew.
Kyle Rittenhouse was holding an M16 while a guy's armed with a skateboard charged him.
Yeah.
That is not understanding danger.
Right.
This guy has a weapon of war, and I'm going to fucking chase him and try to tackle him with my skateboard? Oh, and then I got shot. Huh. Well, that guy did not understand that.
And by the way, I've told you about that skateboard phenomenon, right?
Yes.
So let's all make note that about 5% of homeless people are these 35-year-old to 40-year-old males with skateboards and a backpack. Mm-hmm. And they're all psychopaths and sociopaths. Mm-hmm. And they are the ones, there's all kinds of anarchy symbolism and slogans on their tents out on the streets. Mm-hmm. And these people get listened to by the government. They found their way into Antifa now. I think that's where a lot of them are. These are not healthy people. These are not people. These are not even useful idiots. These are dangerous people. Mm-hmm. The people need to be contained, not followed,
right,
or unleashed.
Yes. All right. What else are you thinking about, Drew?
So when is this airing?
Oh boy,
Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. So Scott Adams died yesterday.
Yeah.
And his wife read a long letter from him, and I think everyone on our pod knows Scott, right? Do we have to explain who he is?
I don't know.
He's the Dilbert comic. He had a daily streaming show where he just reviewed kind of news and politics. He taught people about persuasion, which I didn't know shit about.
Yeah.
And it was back when I was sort of perplexed by the popularity of Trump. I was, what is this?
Yeah, he went on Bill Maher's show and sort of talked about persuasion. It was kind of as almost a parlor trick.
Yeah. And so so as time has gone on, he has pointed out how propaganda is persuasion, how Mike Benz has pulled out how the CIA and the NSA has been involved in so much of these persuasion efforts, and that we need to be aware. We need to be fully aware of how persuasion is being used on us. Mm-hmm. And certainly I think a lot of people learned that lesson during COVID. Yeah. Because that's where it was big time deployed.
Well, actually, I'll jump in and tell Andrew that I liked a clip of Bruce Springsteen talking about where this country's going. And we can listen to it, but it all, first off, you guys got 10-cent head, which is weird, but
just because he writes songs doesn't mean he's a brilliant dude.
No, but that's the left doesn't understand that.
Nobody seems our generation didn't understand that.
Listen,
to be fair,
I told everybody. I told fucking Dr. Drew in 1996. I said Robert De Niro doesn't say a word, and we think he's a genius. Yep. And Bruce Springsteen doesn't say a word, and we think he's a genius. Yep. But I have a secret belief that they're both dopes.
And
now they're talking all the time, and we know they're dope. De Niro sounds like an old dope, right? He goes on The View, fuck Trump, fuck, he's a dope. But we should have known.
Yeah.
But he's making this speech. We can talk about Scott Adams. But I just want you to... the funny thing is he's talking about Trump, but to me, I'm hearing COVID. So listen, it's I don't know, 2 minutes long.
Interesting.
And some of it is Trump stuff, but 80% of it, I'm saying that's what you guys did with COVID.
Yes.
There's some very weird, strange, and dangerous shit going on out there right now. In America, they are persecuting people for using their right to free speech and voicing their dissent.
That's
all right. That's all COVID.
Whoa.
That's all. Everyone.
It's Euro. It's the European Union. It's the EU, and it's COVID. And it's Biden administration. They fucking went weaponized on all our
trying to get people fired from their jobs. Getting people
to sickness and death.
Wait, hold, stop. Find me one.
This isn't what the fuck he's talking about. But
I want to find me one.
No, that's what they do. Everything's a cartoon.
Yeah.
See, here's the reason. Let me explain why everything's a cartoon. Why evil?
Yeah.
Evil because in cartoons, the hero stands up to evil.
Yeah.
The hero doesn't stand up to pragmatists.
Yeah. Right.
Evil Lord Pragmatite. They don't do it. They stand up to the evil people, and he's a hero because he's standing up to evil, except for real evil eliminates these people, but they know they're not going to be eliminated, so they get to talk. All right, keep going. Sorry.
Happening workers.
All right, hold on. First off, you were trying to get people fired for not taking experimental vaccination.
Yeah.
Workers.
Yeah. You did it. You did it.
You did it. So we'll keep going.
Who is he
rolling
talking about?
back historic civil rights legislation.
Which ones?
That led to a more just and plural society.
He cannot name anything.
They're abandoning our great allies.
Yeah. They are great allies.
And siding with dictators.
The one we just took
against
out?
those struggling for their freedom.
Yep.
The dictator we just pulled out of
we're siding with
Venezuela?
Him. Yeah. He's sitting next to him in the same jail cell outside of Manhattan. Okay. Siding.
Anyway, I can't.
No, there's more. It all feels like COVID.
Yes, of course it is. 5 years ago.
Unfit president is Biden, who's got dementia, and a government who's basically running it beside him without his knowledge and trying to lock up people who are... They're surfing on the beach in Malibu. Fucking idiot. All right, keep going.
I can't. It's too disturbing.
Good. Wait, there's a little more.
Tonight, we ask all who believe in democracy and the best of our American experience to rise with us, raise your voices against authoritarianism, and let freedom ring.
All right, authoritarianism. How about having your kids' school shut down and you being arrested for not wearing a mask? How fucking retard. He's a 10-cent head.
But they don't like that somebody got voted in. That's democracy. They don't like when their guys don't get voted
right, because that's not democracy.
Right, that's not democracy. Yeah.
Right. So, sorry, Scott Adams.
Yeah, I'll miss him greatly. He was a friend, and
he was a thinker.
Man, he helped me think about a lot of things. And he saw it from a certain perspective as a hypnotist and as somebody that studied persuasion. And we're going to reread all his books and try to keep them top of mind. He has a book called
started
God's
as a
Debris.
humble guy, like working for the phone company.
Oh, yeah. He was a teller at a bank. That was his first job.
Yeah.
And he actually described a couple of bank robberies when he was in there.
Yeah, a real thoughtful, interesting guy.
Nice guy. We had a very strange friendship. Did I ever tell you how I got to get close to him? It's proof of the great magnet, you would say. Two things I want to talk about. That I'll tell you in a second. But first, I'm a little shocked at people going, cancer killed him? Why didn't he do... Please, people. Cancer is often deadly. We can't stop all cancers. Prostate cancer, once it becomes metastatic, it's going to kill President Biden very soon. It depends on what kind of tumor, what the genetics of that tumor is, how fast and where it goes. But once it becomes metastatic, it is largely fatal. Certainly with time, it is definitely fatal. And there's a few things you can do about it. You can send radioactive isotopes in on ligands and things. But that's it. And then it eventually evolves evolutionarily and figures out a way around it, and you die. That's the way prostate cancer is once it is out of the prostate. And if you don't have your prostatectomy in time, that's what you're dealing with. Sometimes you can shut it down with radiation, but if it gets out into the bones at a distant site, it's fatal. It's just a matter of how time.
How old was he?
He's 68, I think. Can you look that up for us?
Yeah, makes sense. Anyway,
again, a little young for the prostate to kill him, but it's common. It's just the way prostate is. All cancers can eventually get you. We're just 68, yeah. Mm-hmm. But so how do we become friends? I was listening to a show one day, and he goes, I'm going on the trip of a lifetime in 3 weeks. Or didn't even say when. He did not say when. He goes, I'm on a trip of a lifetime. And I'm looking forward to my wife. He was married at the time to Christina. And I was like, oh, and I thought, he's going where I'm going. I just had that thought in my head immediately. I'm standing in the shower and I go, he's going to Greece. And I text him and I go, hey, Scott, where are you happen? Where are you going? Oh, I'm going to Greece. And I said, really? What island? Santorini. Really? Okay, wait. My exact dates on the very fucking plane that I went from Germany to Greece on. And we spent several dinners together and had a nice time. And that's how we became friends. But how weird is that?
Pretty weird.
And weird the thought I had, which was, he's going where I'm going. I just knew it immediately. It was just sort of like, but I did not, it didn't dawn on me that we'd go on the same plane. It was like, that's so crazy. We were separated by 3 rows on the same plane.
Smart guy, interesting guy, successful guy, and he will be missed.
Yep.
and broad ideas, and I like that. All right, this weekend, Grants Pass, Oregon, Rogue Theater. That'll be Friday. Then Saturday, Midtown Ballroom, Bend, Oregon. Driving, man. We're going to New York and doing some shows at Rodney's. Drew was doing his stand-up over there.
Yeah. You were going to Scaramucci in.
The Mooch going to come out, and we'll do stand-up shows. I'll be at Rodney's. I'll be on the 29th. And then I'm going with Megyn Kelly to Chester, New York. And then D.C., the Kennedy Center, and I think RFK Jr.'s coming out. He's contacted me and wants to have a dialogue. So we'll see how that goes. You know, Adam Carolla, love that guy. AdamCarolla.com. What do you got, Drew?
DrDrew.com. It's all there. Follow me on X, Dr. Drew, and we do that streaming show Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Look for it.
So, until next time, Adam Carolla, Dr. Drew saying, Mahala.